Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto destroys Civilian Council part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Long before there was a Konoha or even an Uzumaki, there the legend of the Sage of the Six Paths. To his youngest son was given a prophecy that was passed down throughout time through the Uzumaki lines, and with the founding of Uzumaki the prophecy began to make sense. More importantly, it began to take shape before their eyes. At the dawning of the Third Great War, the whirlpool shall face a deadly storm. 3 rivals shall fight as one to see all our work undone. To weather this storm must we pay the cost. To all concerned we must be lost. None shall know no matter the cost. The second in line will light the way. But first she must be cast away. In the land of leaves our fate resides, an honored past which darkness hides. When the son of she who has long been lost returns to our hallowed shores, his blood will open up a forgotten door, and that thought lost she wake once more. Deep within the city of Uzumaki, a young Kushina Uzumaki lies asleep in preparation for a long journey to visit her aunt Mito Uzumaki, the wife of Hashirama Senju of Konoha. Little did she know this would soon lose most of her family. As she slept, an older man and woman stood at her bedside watching over her. "Are you sure we are doing the right thing, dear?" the woman asked her husband. "Yes, my love, it is the only chance we have. She will not know the burden that she will soon bear, and the seal that has been placed will not reveal itself until the end. If all goes as we hope, she will be safe from what's to come, and the prophecy will come to fruition." He husband answers her. "But to place such a burden on one so young?" she replies. He places his hand on her shoulder to comfort her before he replies, "Mito will keep her safe, and the Hokage is an honorable man. He will be given the only copy of the prophecy so that when the time comes they will know what to do. I can only hope we are doing the right thing for her future, and that she doesn't hate us when the time comes," was her only reply. "She is the daughter of the Uzumaki, and the future Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Yoko. She will make us both proud, and when the time comes she will understand the choices we must make in the coming days," he tells her, shaking his head slowly. "So it's confirmed then, is it? They are making preparations to attack us?" she asked fearfully. "Yes, my dear, but we are making our preparations as well, and if all goes well they will never know the truth of our plans. Worry not, my dear, let us retire and let her dream in peace," he told his wife as they left the room quietly. 23 years later, outside Konoha, Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze stand in front of the stone altar that holds their newborn son impaled by the claw of the Kyubi as it struggled to prevent itself from being sealed once again. While the eyes of the village's Anbu and Hiruzen Sarutobi lay on the dying couple and the sacrifice they were making, none saw the tear fall from the face of the Kyubi as it looked upon the scene it had wrought. Any who did see would never have believed the truth, but would only think that the demon feared losing its freedom once again. It could only watch as the couple said their final goodbyes to their new son Naruto. "Naruto, this your dad. Listen to your motor mouth," Mother Minato told his son. "Naruto, you're going to experience a lot of pain and suffering. Remember who you are. Find a goal, a dream, and don't stop trying until it comes true. There's so much more that I want to say, to teach you. I want to stay with you. I love you," Kushina cried as she told her only son. As the Shinigami sealed the Kyubi within the small child, a bright flash of light blinded all but one, who watched as Kushina and Minato both disappeared, and all present wept for the loss of their beloved fourth and his wife. The only thing that could be heard were the cries of a small child. The sound of a lonely child was heard throughout the night. "Is it time, my love?" a quiet voice asked. "Not yet, but now there is hope. Hope for us, and hope for the future," was the reply. "And what about her? She suffered so much," the first voice asked. "Don't worry, the seal worked as we hoped. Everything is coming to pass as was foretold." And so the long wait began. 12 years after the sealing of Kyubi Hokage Tower Konoha. "I still can't believe I gave them that mission. I hope everything turns out alright. But then again, what choice did I have?" Sarutobi Hiruzen thought to himself 3 days after assigning Team 7 to the escort mission to Wave. As he walked to his desk, his hip knocked into a hidden latch, opening a compartment that not even he knew about. As he read the scroll that was there, he looked at the date and realized it hailed from the earliest founding days of the village. Along with the scroll was a small envelope addressed to the current Hokage. "If you are reading this, then it is time. The lost son is returning home, and all wrongs shall be addressed upon his return. Hashirama Senju, Shodame Hokage. I wonder, should I call a meeting of the elders to discuss this? Or should I let them find out the hard way? After all, between Danzo and the rest they have done their best to make the poor boy's life a living hell." And would it be his thoughts were interrupted by a presence that had been silently trying to maneuver into a position to read both the scroll and letter while remaining unseen. Grabbing a hidden saban laced with a paralyzing agent, he moved with a speed that defied his years and stabbed the unknown ninja in the neck. Caught by surprise, the masked ninja never had a chance. As he dropped, he saw the Hokage's ANBU appear throughout the room and heard the Hokage mutter under his breath, "Root, so that bastard still hasn't stopped the program after all. This time he's gone too far. Cat, take the prisoner to Ibiki. Also, I want the Yamanaka clan head himself to examine his mind, and I want to know everything this man does before the end of the day." "Yes, sir, at once," was the reply he got as Cat grabbed the root agent and disappeared. "That settles it. Those bastards have dug their own graves and deserve every bit of what happens to them. It's time I reminded both the elders and the damned lazy-ass civilian council why I am called the Shinobi no Kami. And that's a lesson that's been too long in coming. Hurry back, Kakashi, and bring Naruto home safe. It's long past time these bastards learn the truth of who they have been wronging all these years. And if all goes well, you'll be bringing a new friend or two along with you," thought Hiruzen as he calmed himself. After all, it would never do to show his hand too soon and give his enemies a chance to cover their actions once more. 4 days later, near the outskirts of the ruins of Uzushiyogakure, Naruto stumbled through the forest, lost, confused, and alone. His conversation with the young girl had him pondering who it was that he considered his precious people. Who am I fighting for, myself, or those that care for me? But I'm the demon container, who cares what happens to me? Let's see, the only real friends I have are the old man Ichiraku and I am, then there's Gigi, and the friends I have from class. Come to think of it, who among them is really a friend? Yeah, I'm teammates with Sasuke and Sakura, and that means I need to protect them even if they don't want me to. Then there's teammate. I may fight Kiba, but it's never been personal, more like a rivalry. Bug Boy and I really don't talk, then again he really doesn't talk to anyone. Hinata, there's something about her. Every time I see her and talk to her she turns really red and faints, but then I've never heard her say anything bad about me ever, and she's always been nice to me, so yeah, I guess I can say she's a friend. Team 10 Ino is a fangirl, but she's not as prone to beat the crap out of me at the drop of a hat like Sakura is. Shikamaru and Choji, yeah, there's nothing that needs to be said, they've been my friends since the academy. So yeah, I do have precious people. So lost in his thoughts was Naruto that he never saw the log that he tripped over or the river waterfall that fell into, then went over. Tossed around, and bouncing off rocks, he came to rest unconscious on the banks of a ruined city. The blood from an open cut on his forehead splashed on the ground, and unbeknownst to him a bright flash of light covered the entire area. "My God, what happened to him?" a young woman shouted. "He looks like he came over the falls the hard way, dear. Don't worry, he's already healing," an older man told her. But he looks like he's been through hell. What is he doing here in the first place, father?" the woman asks. "My dearest daughter, it's time you know the truth about what happened. Bring the boy, we'll make sure he's okay, and then both you and he will be taking a little trip. I can't tell you everything that has happened to him, as that's his story to tell. However, Kushina, you and your son have a long road ahead of you." "My son? It can't be. Naruto is just a baby. I've only been here a couple months. There is no way that this can be him. It's not possible. I was only in the hospital a month and have been waiting to be cleared to travel home to take care of my son," Kushina shouted. "Yes, dear, it has only been a couple months for you, but to the rest of the world it has been 13 years. Come with me, Kushina, there's much that you need to learn. And it won't be long before he wakes up. By then both you and he need to be far enough away from here that he can make it back to his team on his own," her father told her. "Alone?" she said with an ominous tone. "Yes, Kushina, alone, at least as far as he knows, until the time to show yourself to his sensei comes. Don't give me that look, you'll be there when he wakes up and you'll point him in the right direction. Then you'll observe from a distance. Also, while he's asleep, do you sense anything different from the boy other than the QB being inside him?" Kushina was asked. "Now that you mention it, yes, let me see. Oh hell and oh. Whoever did this to my son is dead. How in the hell could Hiruzen allow this to happen?" Kushina shouted. "Dad, can it be undone without hurting him?" she asked her father worriedly. "Yes, dear, your mother and I suspected that someone might have tried this in order to control him, or even you. Thankfully you didn't have this issue, but the seals that have been placed to limit his growth both mentally and physically can be removed without harming him. Also, judging by the chakra signature on the seals, they weren't done by either Hiruzen or Jiraiya, which means someone else is responsible. Find whoever did this to Naruto, and why, then punish them. That's not a request by your father, that's an order by the Uzukage, which not even the Hokage will object to. Matter of fact, we might be doing him a favor. By the time he wakes up, my grandson will see the world clearly for the first time," Hiroko Uzumaki, the Nidaime Uzukage, told his daughter. "Now let's go take care of my grandson and get you caught up on what the world thinks happened to both you and all of us." 8 hours later, on the riverbank near the clearing where Naruto met Haku. "What the hell happened to me? And why the hell do I feel like I just went 12 rounds with Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto grumbled as he woke up. Then, without warning, he felt a hand on his forehead and jumped back in a defensive crouch. "Who the hell are you and why are you touching me?" Naruto demanded as he looked at the red-haired woman who had apparently been watching him while he was out. Oh. What the hell was that for? He shouted as said woman punched him on the top of his head straight into the ground. Well, if you must know, little boy, that is for you being ungrateful to the woman who pulled your carcass out of the river before you drowned to death. Kushina answered him, with a smirk. Don't they teach manners in Konoha anymore, you little brat? Okay, no need to beat the crap out of me. After the week I've had I'm a little jumpy, so thanks lady, guess I owe you one. And by the way, how'd you know I was from? Oh wait, the headband done, never mind. Anyway, thanks for pulling me out of the river, but I've got to get back to my team. If you make it to wave, look me up and I'll repay you. Bye. He shouted as he ran off. I bet he didn't even realize how easy it was to figure out my question before he stopped himself. Those bastards have a lot to answer for, but for now I'll do as Dad asked and watch from a distance. But if anyone tries to harm my son, so help me, it'll be the last thing I do. Kushina thought as she followed her son back to the rest of his team. 3 days later at the Battle of the Bridge. He's stronger than I thought he'd be, even with everything those seals had done to him. Kushina thought as she watched her son battle with the young girl he'd called Haku. She'd had a hard time not smacking the pink-haired harpy as she'd watched Naruto interact with his team. Add to that the urge to beat some sense into the spoiled, self-centered little bastard that turned out to be Makoto's youngest son. I swear something must have happened to Makoto, because there is no way in hell she'd let her son turn into a pompous, self-centered, arrogant ass like this. I'm gonna have to knock that put of the boy for his own good. Makoto, is it bad that I think you'd approve wholeheartedly? Definitely a thorough beating, Kushina thought as she watched Naruto activate the Kyuubi's chakra to end the fight. Over the past few days, Kushina had watched both her son's team and the tandem of Haku/Zabuza, whom she had determined would be the ones fighting her son, by use of shadow clones. Her shadow clones had even uncovered the impending betrayal by that bastard Gato. That she had sworn to herself would not happen. Especially after she had uncovered the father-daughter relationship between the pair. Kushina shook her head to clear her thoughts as both the fights involving Naruto and Kakashi were about to end, with Haku moving to intercept Kakashi's Raikari meant for Zabuza. Not on my watch! Kushina thought angrily as she used her chakra chains to stop Haku, Zabuza, Naruto and Kakashi in mid-movement before the fatal blow could be struck. That's enough of that, all of you, Kushina stated as she calmly walked onto the bridge. It can't be, Kakashi shouted. You've been. Not another word, Hatake Kakashi, Kushina shouted. At least not yet, young man. Right now we have a more pressing issue, namely that bastard Gato is here and plans to double-cross you, Zabuza, and the plans he has for young Haki here are not pleasant. Something about sex slavery? Kushina told both men with a hateful smile as they watched Gato and his men climb onto the bridge. Well, looks like the great demon of the mist is nothing more than a pathetic weakling. Glad I never planned to pay your worthless ass anyways, and dear little Haku, I have several buyers lined up for you, young lady. Boys, you know the drill, kill the men, and as for the women, make sure that they're broken in properly. It'd never do to sell inexperienced sex slaves. Gato leered as he mocked the two nuke neens. So Zabuza, normally I'd slaughter the lot of them just on principle, but you have a larger beef, so go get him, Kushina told Zabuza as she placed a seal on him and released him. Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but how the hell do I have so much chakra? I was almost completely out and couldn't even use my hands. Zabuza asked, slightly confused. Never doubt the power of seals, Databeo, Kushina answered. Now either you go get those bastards or I do, doesn't matter to me, but if you make me do it, it'll cost you, Kushina said darkly as her chakra chain claws started snapping menacingly near his groin. No need to push, these bastards are mine. Zabuza paled visibly at the implied threat as he activated the hidden mist jutsu and commenced the slaughter. Oh, and Kakashi, we need to talk, Kushina said darkly as for the first time ever that his team had ever seen Kakashi paled and started shaking in fright. It's not possible. She died along with Sensei in order to save Naruto, but those chains, that voice, good God, that temper, there's only one person who had that combination. Kakashi thought as he watched the woman goad one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist into doing what she wanted. Screw what logic says, that woman can only be Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. Haku, please be a dear and take Naruto and the duck butt hair over there to the pink harpy while your Master and Cyclops over here have a little adult chat, Kushina said with a smile that could only be described as sickly sweet. Yup, it's her, and we're fucked. Well, at least those damned fools on the civilian council are, Kakashi thought dryly. I don't know who this woman is, but judging by the looks on both Master and Kakashi's faces, it would be best to do as she says for now, Haku thought dryly as she moved to do what she was asked to do. Oi, hey lady, just who the hell do you think you are to tell me what to do? Naruto asked. Not catching the warning glare from Kakashi, he continued, look, thanks for saving Haku's butt and all, but why the hell do you erg? He never got a chance to continue as Kakashi covered his mouth and whispered urgently. If you want to live to see another day, Do not finish that sentence. This woman is not to be trifled with. If you thought Sakura was bad, this woman makes her look like a kitten. At those words, Naruto paled visibly and just shook his head. Kushina looked at both of them with the same sickly sweet grin that made all three present shiver, as though someone had just walked over their graves. You know, Naruto, I used to be a lot like you, but please be a dear and do as I asked. It's for your own good. You wouldn't want me to lose my temper, now would you, dear? Kushina asked. God, it's like you think you're mine. Naruto started before he was interrupted by Kakashi urgently. Don't finish that sentence if you value your life. Kushina raised an eyebrow at Kakashi, who only shrugged in response. She decided to let it go until the kids were out of earshot before she'd get her answer. Naruto and Haku grabbed Sasuke off the bridge and walked over to where Tazuna and Sakura stood, mouths agape in shock at what had been going on around them. As soon as they reached the two, Sakura started in, "What the hell, dumbass? How could you let this bitch go and hurt poor Sasuke like that? I knew you were a piss-poor excuse for a ninja, but this is pathetic. And what the fuck are you looking at, you stupid bitch? I ought to kill you for hurting my man like that." "As if you could, you stupid harpy," Haku deadpan. "How do you even put up with this stupid girl, Naruto?" she asked. "Damfino, sheer stupidity, I guess," Naruto answered. "What did you say, dumbass? Do you want me to beat?" Sakura started before being knocked unconscious by hard chop to the back of her neck courtesy of Haku, who was unable to suppress a satisfied smirk at her actions. "Thank you, Haku," said Naruto. "My pleasure," responded Haku. Back on the bridge. "Alright, Cyclops, we have another couple of minutes before Zabuza is finished playing with his food, so you've got that long to convince me why I shouldn't get you where you stand. And judging by how that pink-haired harpy over there was treating my son, you better talk fast," Kushina said darkly. "So it really is you, Kushina?" Kakashi asked. "What the fuck do you think? Tick-tock, running out of time and patience here, Cyclops." "Before you ask, no, Minato isn't with me," Kushina answered sadly. "Just as well. If Sensei saw what the Hokage and the rest of us have had to do to keep Naruto alive and away from Danzo, well, I bet he'd do the QB proud." "Why? How?" "I know the old man heard Minato's last request?" Kushina asked. "What has my son been through, and how far have you had to go?" she asked while she looked over Kakashi's shoulder. "Too far. If it wasn't the mobs chasing him out for blood on his birthday, it was Danzo trying to get him via the council into his program and make a true monster out of him," Kakashi answered sadly. Then his eyes widened in shock and dismay as he saw one of the chains flying towards him. "I guess it's only right. In the end, we truly deserve it," he thought sadly, only to be surprised as the chain flew past his left ear and speared straight through the heart of a plain-masked ninja who had previously been unseen, killing him instantly. "Who, but how, why?" was all Kakashi could say. "I've been watching him since I followed you here," Kushina answered as she pulled the mask off the body. "Do you recognize him at all?" she asked Kakashi as she continued to follow a familiar chakra signature that emanated from a seal on the tongue of the dead man. "And do you recognize the seal?" she demanded. "No, I don't, and if I had to guess, he's a root agent, which can only mean one thing, Danzo," Kakashi replied. "If my guess is right, Naruto is in more danger than the Hokage thought when he gave us this mission, and needs to know." "Danzo, huh? Well, let's just leave him to me, and by the way, thank you for keeping my son alive." Kakashi Minato would be proud, Kushina answered. "Why the sudden change of heart, Kushina?" Kakashi asked, confused. "Because I can tell you aren't lying to me, and that you had no idea that bastard was nearby. If you had, you'd have been dead before you knew it," Kushina said. "I had to know for certain if you were looking after my son or pandering to that duck-haired little bastard. Please tell me he's not Makoto's boy." "Well, there is a reason I was A&BU for 6 years, and yes, he is." "I take it you don't approve of his attitude either?" "I'd have no problem straightening him out if I get the chance." "I have no doubt his mother would approve if she were alive," Kushina told him. "How do you know she was killed in the massacre?" she was asked. "Because there is no way she would let him grow up like that." "What massacre? Just what the hell has happened while I've been gone, Kakashi?" was her reply. "That's for the Hokage to say, since here comes Zabuza," she was told. Zabuza walked up to the pair warily, not knowing what to think of the strange situation he had found himself in. "If it comes to a fight, I can handle Kakashi, but this red-haired chick, I don't know who she is, but she's way out of my league." "Okay, now that the small fry are handled, and thanks are in order for saving Haku plus letting me gut that fat bastard, who are you and why did you interfere?" he asked Kushina. "Well, rather blunt of you, seeing as I saved you and your daughter, wouldn't you say, Zabuza? Since you asked though, and you are a fellow swordsman, you should recognize this," Kushina stated as she activated a seal on her left arm. Out of the seal appeared a red/black battle-hardened katana that Zabuza instantly recognized. "Who are you and how did you get the Red Death? Answer me now or pay with your life. The last wielder of that sword died 13 years ago, and if you stole it from the grave, I will gut you where you stand," Zabuza growled. Well, it's nice to know my skills are still remembered, but you should know, boy, that there is no way anyone could steal this blade as it passes from family member to family member in my family, which means the only one aside from me who could wield it would be the brat over there since he's my son. If you must know, though, my name is Kushina Uzumaki, daughter of the Naidame Yuzukage, wife of the Yandame Hokage. Now you have some explaining to do about you and that young girl over there with my son. If you answer correctly, I'll let you live, piss me off, and you die plain and simple. Got it? Kushina answered darkly. Zabuza paled visibly and recoiled from the killer intent which radiated from her. Okay, what do you want to know? Zabuza asked. Start from the beginning and tell me why she thinks she's your weapon instead of your adoptive daughter. Remember, you answer wrong, you die. Zabuza proceeded to explain the situation in Kiri to her and Kakashi, his attempt to stop the killings, and his flight from the failed assassination with Haku. At the end of his tale, Kushina calmed a bit and then dropped the hammer. First off, from here, you and you alone go to Yuzu, despite what you've been told it's not in ruins, and tell them I sent you. Explain why I sent you, and they should be able to help. Before you ask, that young girl will not be going with you. What you have to do will still take many years and will likely cost Haku her life should she go alone. Instead, you are going to do the responsible thing and leave her in my care. Trust me, she'll be taken care of, and you have my word that she'll be safe. You'll tell her it's to receive training to help prepare her for when you need her, and you know just as well as I do I'm better than you both as a swordsman and as a protector. Not gonna give me any say in this, are you? Was the dry reply from Zabuza. No chance in hell, was her answer. If she gets harmed, I don't care how good you are, I'll kill you, Zabuza threatened. No chance, cause if she's harmed that means I'm already dead, but I'll take care of her. You clean up the mess and Kiri, then come back for your daughter. See if she's not able to kick your ass by the time I'm done with her. Kushina laughed as she told him. Alright boys, let's get over there before the kids get worried. On the shore. What do you think they've been talking about this entire time, Haku? Naruto asked. How'd you put it, Naruto? Damfino, I believe. She answered as he laughed. Well, no matter, looks like they're headed this way. At this point, Sakura started to come around, and was gathering up her voice so she could really let Naruto have it, only to be knocked out once again by Haku before she could even begin. Again, thanks. Nariti laughed as he told Haku. That was more for me than you. Cause my ears couldn't handle that shrieking anymore. You don't think I did permanent damage, do you? Haku tried to keep from laughing as she asked, but couldn't any longer after she heard Naruto's one-word response. Damfika. They just watched as the three adults came up to them, and then Naruto stepped aside and Zabuza knelt in front of his adoptive daughter. Haku, listen to me. I know I've treated you as a weapon, but it was to try and prepare you for a task that I've known was my responsibility. No, don't talk, just listen. You are as close to a daughter as a monster like me could ever have, and I'm prouder of you than you will ever know. Right now I have to do what's best for you, and that's not going with me, it's going with Kakashi and his brats. The red-haired demon, ouch damn it woman, you know it's true, will take care of you and train you until I'm ready to return to you. Until then, grow strong and I expect you to surpass him. Zabuza tried to keep his composure while talking to Haku, but when she lunged forward to hug him, he couldn't keep the tears off his face. Don't worry, I'll be back, you just be ready for when I get back. Take care of her, was the last thing he said as he disappeared in a mix of wind and mist. Farewell, father, was all Haku could say as she sobbed into Naruto's shoulder. Now what? Naruto asked Kakashi. Now, Naruto, there's someone who you need to meet properly. Say hello to Kushina Uzumaki, Kakashi told him with a slight grin. Uzumaki, that's the same last name as he started to say. Yes, Naruto, it's the same last name as you, and why shouldn't it be? After all, I am your mother. Now, Naruto, there's someone who you need to meet properly. Say hello to Kushina Uzumaki, Kakashi told him with a slight grin. Uzumaki, that's the same last name as he started to say. Yes, Naruto, it's the same last name as you, and why shouldn't it be? After all, I am your mother. I know, was all Naruto said in return. Both adults stood their mouths agape stunned before Kakashi finally managed to put words to the thoughts that were running through his head. What do you mean you know? He shouted. There's no possible way you can know, hell, she just told me, so how in the hell can you just stand there and tell me that you know? Kakashi asked. Okay, just what the hell is going on here? First we have Kushina's return from the grave, and now we have Naruto claiming that he's known who his mother was. I think I know what he's talking about, Kakashi, but I need to be sure. Naruto, you did something when you bent over to pick up Duck but over there, didn't you? Kushina asked softly. Something to make sure that your sensei would have backup in case he needed it, didn't you? Yeah, you guessed it. I popped a shadow clone and had it hinge into a rock while you both were paying attention to Zabuza's slaughterfest. I'm still a little fuzzy on how I know what it heard, but I caught everything up to you killing that guy that was hidden behind Kakashi-sensei. Your chain kinda dispelled it, and after I realized what I'd heard I kinda thought it'd be best to hear the rest from you two in person. Naruto explained. It's weird how I never really noticed any memories coming from the clones before, but then I don't think I've ever really been paying attention too much either. Kushina looked at her son as he tried to work through what he'd just learned and then looked over at Kakashi sternly. Kakashi, you mean to tell me that you never bothered to tell him the side effects and benefits of using the shadow clone jutsu? How long has it been since they've graduated? Kakashi paled a little and then started scratching the back of his head sheepishly. It's been about a month and a half, but I honestly thought the Hokage would have told him about the effects. That or he'd have noticed them himself the way he spams them during training. You are so lucky you didn't know about what had been placed on him. If you did, so help me, I'll rip you in two before you can even scream, Kushina threatened. Alright, that's enough. It's bad enough I have my own damn teammates trying to belittle or beat the shit out of me. I don't need my MOM and my sensei trying to hide shit from me and kill each other, Naruto shouted as he stormed off. Haku looked at the two adults for a moment before she quietly followed after him. Baby, I'm Kushina started as she tried to go to him. Kakashi stopped her, shaking his head. Give him a little time, Kushina. It's true we've all done wrong by him, but he is a very forgiving child. I know I've looked after him as both an A and B guard, as his sensei, and as a surrogate big brother even if he didn't know I was doing so. You have no idea how hard I tried. Makoto and Hanabira Hyuga, your old teammates, tried to adopt him only to be stopped by the civilian council and the elders. You have no idea how hard the Hokage has had to fight to keep him out of Danzo's hands. Unfortunately, if what you've told me is true, even that wasn't fully successful. Just give him some time to process what he's learned today, and then go to him. Before you do though, I need to know what was done to him, and can it be fixed, Kakashi said. His worry for Naruto helped him weather Kushina's glare at him for stopping her before she looked off at shoreline where her son was sitting being comforted by a girl he'd only met a few days before. You win, Kakashi, this time I'll give him a little space, but before I tell you what we found. We? Yes, we. You didn't think that's right, you don't know yet. There's a lot that's been going on in Yuzu. The city wasn't destroyed, but has been sealed in a separate dimension until Naruto's blood released it since the war, Kushina explained. I'm not alone and neither is he not anymore. But by the time those bastards that hurt him figure it out, it'll be far too late, Kushina growled. Overall, my father found a total of 14 completed seals and 6 failed seals on Naruto. Each limb had 2 apiece. 1 to stunt growth and 1 to reduce strength. His chest, stomach, and head each had both seals, plus his head had 2 extra to reduce his intelligence, and 1 that looked like it was trying to block natural affinity. The failed seals would have limited him to the point of being nothing more than a mindless weapon completely loyal to whomever placed the seals. It's a damned good thing that whoever tried to place the seals underestimated both Kurama and the Uzumaki blood in his veins. Remind me to think the fuzzball when I get the chance, Kushina explained. What was he like before you got here? Well, first off, he's been loud, brash, obnoxious, and wants nothing more than to be Hokage. The seals you've explained would explain how he got that way personality-wise, but believe it or not, that boy has been able to take one of your old titles from you, Kakashi said rather proudly. Which one? Should I be concerned? Kushina asked nervously. Prank King of Konoha. He even snuck into ANBU headquarters, planted multiple paint bombs, painted the Hokage monument, and avoided all attempts at capture for over 8 hours. Hell, even I couldn't find him and I know all his hiding places, Kakashi said with a hint of pride. Then he thought for a moment. If those seals were as potent as you say, then what's he gonna be like now that they're gone? Well, you've already seen the early effects of his intelligence seal being removed, but if what Dad told me is true, then by the end of the month he'll be taller, likely normal height for his age. But the seals limited him to 20% intelligence and 40% speed/strength. Now that they're removed, well, he's gonna be about as fast and strong as I was at that age, Kakakun, Kushina explained. All the more reason that it's good to have you back, Kushina. Heaven help anyone who gets in his way now, but at least someone can rein him in. You will be reining him in, right? Kakashi asked with a hint of trepidation. To a point, I'll keep him in line attitude-wise, and I doubt he'll go overboard, but the crap his so-called teammates have put him through ends now. Before we leave here, I'm gonna explain what being an Uzumaki entails, and we'll start on him learning what his father would have taught him before now. Kushina looked for any hint of argument from Kakashi, and seeing none, continued. Also, now that the seals are gone, I need to see what affinities he has. His training from now till we get back to Konoha is in my hands, and you won't stop what I have in mind to get your other students in line either. Well, as far as Naruto goes, I have no issues, but as for my other cute little genin, I have to ask, should I be excited, nervous, or horrified about what you plan to do? Fair warning, the council kisses Sasuke's ass and Sakura's mother is a council member. Kakashi looked at her to gauge her response. All 3, I think. Trust me, Kakashi, by the time I'm done you'll have 3 competent shinobi. Not the dysfunctional mess you have now. I know Makoto would approve of how I handle her son, and as for Pinky there, well, she'll either shape up or wind up a blubbering mess. Family member on the council or not, you don't fuck with my son like that and get away with it. Oh, and my son's infatuation with the harpy ends now, whether he wants it to or not, Kushina calmly stated. In the Hyuga compound in Konoha. Hinata suddenly perked up with a giant smile in the middle of her mother's garden, and for some reason the only thing she could think was, now's my chance, when he gets back I'll tell him everything. For the rest of the day Hinata went about her tasks with renewed vigor, showing newfound confidence, much to the delight of her father and the dismay of her younger sister. Back in Wave. Kakashi paled a little as he thought of the methods she might use. As long as they come back alive, that's what matters, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna try and stop her, he thought. With Naruto. I can't believe this shit. We saved the bridge, beat Gato, saved Haku, I meet my mother, and it seems like the more shit I find out today the more confusing it gets, Naruto told Haku as she ran up to him. I don't know what's going on anymore. So it's true, that woman is your mother? Haku asked. And what was it that you did to me on the bridge? Yeah, I heard everything they said on the bridge, like I said earlier. Even if I don't fully understand how I know what my clone heard, I know that it's true somehow, was Naruto's response. What do you think all their arguing means? And you still didn't answer my second question. Haku looked at Naruto as he tried to figure out how to respond. Tell her the truth, then tell her you need some time to think. It's time you and I had a talk, brat. What the who was that? Am I going nuts? Naruto thought to himself. You know who this is, and no you aren't. Now hurry up and talk to the girl before she gets suspicious. No way, the QB? It can hear what I'm thinking, even talk to me. Okay, this day can't get any weirder, Naruto thought. If you don't hurry up and do what I told you, it'll get a lot weirder, brat. Now hurry the hell up. Alright, geez, calm the hell down, you overgrown fuzzball. Naruto thought, then he looked at Haku. I think it means there's a lot more going on than what I even thought I knew. As for what happened on the bridge, give me some time to figure out how to tell you. Not that I don't want to tell you, it's just I don't know how to do so without you freaking out. Just give me a little time to think first, please, and I promise I'll tell you. And I always keep my promises, Naruto told Haku. Haku could tell he was holding something back, but decided not to push the issue. It's been a hectic day for all of us, but I think I have a way to put a smile on his face, she thought. Okay, I'll give you time to think, but you better not keep me waiting too long for an answer, Otuto. Haku grinned as he looked at her in shock. You heard what Zabuza told me. I'm gonna be living with you and your mom, so you just gained a big sister, and I just gained a little brother. Get used to it, Otuto, ha ha ha. I mean wow, I really don't know what to say, but thanks Hakuani-san. I think I could get used to this. I won't be too long, and really thanks, Naruto said as he returned the favor of shocking Haku by giving her a hug before he walked away. That brat, he's right about one thing though, I can get used to this too. Haku thought to herself as she watched him walk away. With Kakashi, Kushina, and the rest of Team 7. Looks like they're coming too, Kushina. Why don't you stand over there for a moment, while I talk to them? Kakashi said while giving her an eye smile. Fine with me, Kakakun, but remember, when I step in you stay out of it. It's time these two learn what pissing off Kushina Uzumaki entails, Kushina said with an evil grin as she walked behind the building wall just out of sight of the kids. Sasuke was the first to wake up and did so with a groan before he shot up into a defensive stance. What happened? Where's the hunter Nin and the doe? What's happened and how long was I out, Kakashi? Hurry up and tell me, he demanded. First off, it's Kakashi-sensei. Me jouning you, genin. You answered to me, not the other way around, Kakashi growled, startling Sasuke. Second, you got knocked out before Naruto beat the hunter Nin. What? There's no way the doe beat the hunter. If I couldn't do it, there's no way he could. Sasuke shouted. Watch your tone, boy. Are you calling me a liar? Kakashi shouted in return, scaring Sasuke and startling Sakura awake. What the? Where's the baka and that damned bitch that knocked me out? I'll kill them both, she shouted. Enough, both of you sit down and shut up, Kakashi yelled, causing both genin to do exactly as he said. Good, now both of you listen, there has been a bit of a change here. The hunter Nin has a name, and her name is Haku. As for why she knocked you out, I'd hazard a guess that she was tired of hearing you yell Sakura. She will be joining us when we return to Konoha to register as a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf. I do not, Sakura started as she was cut off. I said enough, Sakura, Kakashi said in a cold tone, making her shut her mouth quickly. Now if you have questions, ask them calmly. If you start getting out of line, then I'll shut you down quick, fast, and in a hurry. Kakashi-sensei, what do you mean? I thought she was a missing Nin. Why would the Hokage let that happen? Sakura asked sedately. Well, Zabuza was the missing Nin. Haku was never a part of Kiri's shinobi forces, so it should be a relative matter of her applying and demonstrating her abilities, Kakashi explained. But that still doesn't answer how the doe beat her. There's no way he should have been able to do so if I couldn't, Sasuke stated matter-of-factly. I know I'm stronger than he is, there's no way he could have won, he thought before Sakura spoke up. He did. I don't know how, but there was a bright red light, and then the dome exploded. She was blown out of it, and he pinned her. Then she tried to jump in between Kakashi-sensei and Zabuza, only to have some strange red-haired woman stop everyone cold. Who was she and what gave her the right to jump in like that, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked as Sasuke stared stunned by what she had told him. All I can say is she's someone close to Naruto, and she stopped us before a grave mistake could be made. Gato planned to betray Zabuza and kill whoever was left from the fight. She stepped in to give us all a chance to put an end to him. Afterwards, Zabuza agreed to have Haku join her with us as we return home, Kakashi said as he watched Kushina silently move behind the two, a sinister smirk evident on her face as she plotted how to make her son's teammates suffer. What? Why would anyone be close to that stupid baka? He's an orphan with no family, and no clan to claim, unlike Sasuke-kun. Who would want to be close to him? All he does is. Sakura stopped as she felt a massive amount of killing intent from directly behind her, enough to make Zabuza's feel like a nice, gentle summer breeze. She and Sasuke slowly turned around to see Kushina standing behind them with her hair fanned out like a giant red flame and chains whipping around angrily. Kakashi suppressed a smile as he looked at both genin turning white with fear. Alright, my cute little genin, I was gonna do this nicely, but looks like you stuck your foot in your mouth. Allow me to introduce you to Kushina Uzumaki, he said slowly. Uzumaki as in the dobe? Sasuke asked slowly. What is she, a cousin or aunt or something? Try his mother, came a cold response from Kushina. No way, he's an orphan, and a hooligan. Everyone knows that. And Kushina Uzumaki died 13 years ago on the night of the Kyuubi attack. I've studied about her, Sakura said. Make no mistake, she is who she says, and since you've studied her, why don't you tell Sasuke what she's known as? Kakashi replied while trying very hard not to laugh. The red-hot habanero wielder of the katana Red Death. Second only to the Yondaime Hokage as a hero of the Third Ninja World War. Oh, you mean this katana? Kushina asked as she unsealed the Red Death. Kakashi, you can go. It's high past time I got acquainted with my son's teammates. Kakashi nodded as he walked away and then gave up the battle to contain his chuckles as he heard the screams from his team. I hope she doesn't hurt them too much, but maybe it'll do them some good, he thought as he met up with the rest of the villagers. With Naruto in the mindscape. Okay, I'm here, what do you want, you damn fox? Naruto said as he came to a large set of bars with the kanji for seal on it. It's about damn time you got your ass down here, brat, Kurama told him. Why do you want to talk to me? Last time I saw you were trying to kill me, then when you couldn't you tried to get me to release you, Naruto said. Personally, I would have reversed the order, because it would be easier to convince someone you didn't just try to kill to do you a favor, but that's just me. Well, I thought honestly that you wouldn't mind getting a little revenge. Hell, after all your village put you through, I figured you'd want payback. But I want you to do something for me. A favor, if you will. When you talk to your mother, tell her Kurama needs to know what happened. Nothing more, nothing less. And before you ask why, you should think of it as your way of repaying you for keeping you alive for all these years, kid. Now get out of here and remember what I said. Kurama, whose Naruto started to ask before he was thrown out of his mindscape. Kit's got a lot to learn and a long way to go, but with her back I don't know how or why, but soon I have to know what happened. I thought she died with him. Hurry up and get her here, Kit, the great fox thought as he laid back down. I really need some answers here, and it's getting dark, so I guess it's time to face the music, Naruto thought as he headed back to the rest of the group. Along the way he met back up with Haku, who was silently waiting for him on the shoreline, and quietly they headed to where the rest of the team waited. The sight that met them upon arriving was one of chaos, with Sakura and Sasuke running and hiding behind anything solid that was large enough to conceal them, both of them in fear for their lives, while Kushina slowly stalked towards them with a malicious gleam in her eyes and using her chains to remove the obstructions and crushing them. Then the whole process would repeat, only with the fear from both Sakura and Sasuke increasing as the serviceable cover was becoming more and more scarce. Naruto, being Naruto, got a malicious grin of his own and took out a camera to take a few snapshots of the pair, knowing he would not get much better blackmail material for a while. The most priceless picture he got was when he had to make a shadow clone to toss the camera to, so he could get the picture of them hiding behind him next. Dobe, call her off. For the love of God, call her off. Sasuke whispered. She's gonna kill us. Call your crazy ass MOM off, Bak, I mean Naruto, please. Sakura begged, her hands clenched together in the begging form. I don't know, I just can't buy entertainment like this, Naruto said as he pretended to think. We'll treat you to ramen when we get back. They both shouted hysterically as Kushina approached, taking her time as she licked her blade in a manner that made a certain snake mistress in Konoha sneeze. All I can eat? Yes. They begged, weeping anime tears when they realized they would be sacrificing most of this mission's pay to feed the blonde his ramen fix, but it was either their wallets or them soon to be hurting, and as far as they were concerned, the choice was obvious. Naruto pretended to think some more, before he shrugged. Why not? I could do with a binge and save some money in the process, he told his teammates before turning to his mother. Okay, Mom, you've got your point across. Please stop trying to scare my friends to death. Okay, Naruto-kun, Kushina said sweetly as she reverted to her normal state, much to the shock of Sasuke and Sakura. Remember kids, I'll be watching and Sasuke when we get back. You and I are gonna have a long one-way conversation, young man, got it? Yes ma'am, Sasuke said quietly. As if. There's no way you can touch me when we get back to Konoha, you red-haired bitch. The council won't let you. And after I tell them how you treated the last Uchiha, they'll lock you up for good, he thought to himself. Kakashi, spotting the look on Sasuke's face, chose this time to walk up to the team and pulled Sasuke aside. Whatever you're thinking about trying to do when we get back, don't. The council won't stop her. I won't stop her. Hell, the Hokage can't stop her if she wants to do something. Don't dig yourself any deeper or she'll crush you, he told Sasuke quietly. Sadly, he could see that his words had fallen on deaf ears, so he merely shook his head and walked away. He'll learn the hard way, was all Kakashi thought. The group headed back to the house together with Naruto slowing back to talk to Kushina alone. Look, I know what I heard, and it explains some of what's happened since I met you, but I'm not sure how to tell all this and I need some answers, just not tonight. Tonight I just want to have you here with me. Tomorrow the answers. Okay, Mom? That's fine, Naruto-kun, it can wait one more night, she said with a smile. Kid, now's the time to tell her. Shit, I almost forgot, Naruto thought before he looked at his mother and told her, Mom, this is gonna sound weird, but I have a message for you. A message for me? She asked, slightly confused. Yeah, this is gonna sound weird, but Kurama needs to know what happened, he said as she stopped in her tracks. What's wrong? Are you okay? He asked, worried. Yes, I'm fine, dear, just a little shocked. I should have known the fur ball wouldn't leave it alone for long. And yes, son, I know you are a Jinchuriki, she said as she waited for the inevitable question. How could you know, and you mean to tell me the Kyuubi's name is Kurama? He asked. Yes, it is, and how I know is before you became his Jinchuriki, I was, she said sadly. No more questions, we'll talk when the others go to sleep. For now, let's catch up to the rest. Alright, Mom, but later Kurama's not the only one who needs answers, Naruto told her. I know, son, I know. Wave Country, the night after the Battle of the Bridge. The party had lasted long into the night, celebrating not only the death of Gato, but the destruction of his gang of mercenaries and thugs that had terrorized the country for so long. Added to that was the discovery that Kushina had planned ahead and used a shadow clone to raid Gato's hideout of all the funds he kept there. For the most part, this was spread throughout the village, further increasing the gratitude of everyone who had been harmed. After the rest of Team 7 had finally nodded off, Kushina met with Naruto by the lake. Not really sure how to begin, Kushina finally gave a deep sigh and decided to get it over with. Okay, son, I know there's a lot you want to know, and deserve to know. Why don't we start with the simple parts? You have questions, I have answers and fuzz, but I'll get to you after my son and I have a chat, so be patient. Easy for you to say, Red, Kurama growled from within the seal. He said. Naruto started before Kushina beat him to it. Easy for you to say, Red, am I right? She grinned as Naruto looked at her, slightly stunned. Don't forget, I was his Jinchuriki long before you. He and I were on pretty good terms, and while we weren't full partners, we had each other's respect. Something about me slaughtering the IWA bastards that we thought had killed my family and Yuzu making him proud. So if anyone can guess what that furry bastard is thinking, it'd be me. That, and he knows if he pisses me off I can tie his furry but in a knot whether he tries to fight it or not. Damned right, I've never seen a more chaotic and crazy bitch in my life, and that's counting my siblings. She's crazy as a fox, and if you piss her off, Kit, all I can say is run like the devil's chasing you, cause she will be. Kurama laughed as he told Naruto this. Gee, thanks, Fuzz, but... Naruto thought. Her, I let get away with it, you. I'll just pound to pace, boy. I might be scared of that red-haired psychopathic mother of yours, but I don't have that issue with you. You better not repeat that last part or else, Kurama sent back in reply. I don't think I should repeat what he just said, Naruto said as he tried to ignore the fox. Oh, knowing him, the words crazy red-haired psychopath were all in there at some point, Kushina calmly replied, but the evil glint in her eyes as Naruto's look confirmed her suspicion was enough to make both Kurama and Naruto start sweating. Don't worry, son, you're not the target. But Kurama, remember, we're all still gonna have a little conversation face to face, so play nice or else, she warned the fox. Oh shit, she's gonna use that seal? Crap, I really can't hide from her. But at least we can meet face to face again, even if it is here in her brat's head, Kurama thought to himself while both happy and dreading the aforementioned meeting. Alright, kid, go ahead and get your questions to her out of the way so we can get to the main event. Tell her I said I'll stay quiet for now, Kurama told Naruto. Yeah, you just don't want her kicking your furry ass all over the place, Naruto thought back in response, making the fox sweat drop. Be that as it may, it's neither here nor there, so go ahead and talk to your mommy before I take over, Kurama said as he cut the connection between him and his host. Kushina had watched her son carry on his internal conversation with his guest, and when he finally turned back to her, gave him a grin. So he finally cut the connection? She asked. Yeah, good thing he's scared of you, or else he'd probably be acting all pissed off at the world or something. Seriously, Mom, what did you do to scare him that bad? Naruto asked Kushina. Well, Naruto, those chains you saw earlier aren't an illusion, they're called chakra chains, and they have the ability to contain a tailed beast like Kurama if your chakra control is strong enough. Oh, and I kinda threatened to neuter him if he pissed me off with the whole I'm a beast of pure evil and malice crap, Kushina said offhandedly, causing her son to instinctively protect himself. Kushina saw her son and couldn't help but laugh before she finally told him, "Don't worry, son, I would never do that to you unless you make me a grandmother out of wedlock, and you'd never do something like that now, would you, dear?" "No, ma'am, never in a million years," was his reply. "Good boy, now I know you have questions, go ahead and ask." Kushina gave a heartwarming smile and prepared for the obvious ones. "Who's my father?" Naruto blurted out. "Someone very famous. Tell me, what do you know about the Yondaime Hokage?" Kushina replied sadly. She knew the reasons why he hadn't been told, and Kakashi had explained the old man's reasoning, but she had no qualms telling her son the truth. If Sarutobi's old ass tried to give her any grief, she'd remind her why she was considered for the role her husband had held first instead of him. Only that he's the strongest Hokage we've ever had, and that if it wasn't for him the village would have been destroyed by the cube, I mean by Kurama. Wait, you don't mean? Naruto started to ask. He never would make anyone to sacrifice their child, especially since no one but an Uzumaki could contain Kurama. That's the reason your great-aunt and I were Jinchuriki before you. Our clan is famous for its large chakra reserves, long lives, rapid healing ability, not to mention our skills in both Kenjutsu and Fuinjutsu. Your father, and my loving husband, was Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage. Kushina forced herself to keep from crying as she told her son the truth. Just the memory of the man she'd loved and lost tore at her, but the sight of her young son, nearly the younger version of her lost husband, helped her hold it together. But why was I never told? If that's true, why'd Gigi hide the truth from me? Naruto asked, stunned at the truth. Why did I never see it? I mean, the truth stared me almost every day, he thought to himself. Because of the enemies your father and I made. If Kumo or IWA caught wind of who you were, they'd have stopped at nothing to kill you in revenge for what your father and I did during the Third War, and at that point there's no way he could have protected you with both your father and I gone, was all Kushina could tell him. I know I'm going to hate myself for asking this, but what has your life been like all this time? Kushina asked, and for the next hour she was right as Naruto told her of how the civilians treated him, the beatings, and the mobs. He also told her of the small acts of kindness by certain clans and civilians, the little gifts he had found on his birthdays, all strangely frog-themed, the relationship he had with the Hokage, and how many members of ANBU had gone out of their way to protect him. As he did so, he recalled the actions and voice of Dog, one of his favorite ANBU. The more he thought about it, the more he was certain he'd seen it before. He continued through telling his mother about the academy, the failed genin tests, and the incident with Mizuki. As he described his team placement, the clues clicked. Kakashi-sensei is Dog, he suddenly shouted. As in the ANBU who protected you? Kushina asked. Naruto nodded. Well, it makes sense. Minato was like a father to him as well as being his sensei, and if things hadn't happened the way they did, he'd have been something like an older brother to you, Kushina told him. Wait, so Dad was Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked, surprised at how easily the concept came to him. I guess that explains what he was talking about on the bridge about trying to adopt me. How do I even know that? Naruto asked. Side effect of the Shadow Clone Jutsu, you retain all knowledge and skills that your clones gain minus physical training. You can gain muscle control from it but not the muscle. I'm guessing that removing the seals that were hindering you allowed you to finally realize that side effect. That little jutsu is going to be your best friend. By the time we get back home, that dead last crap will be a thing of the past. Cause from now until we get back, I'm gonna drill you till you drop, pick you up and drill you some more, she said with an evil grin. Bring it. Anything you can dish out, I can take. I never back down from a challenge, came the confident response. What seals though? I mean the ones you said were hindering me, Naruto asked. Well, you saw the ninja that I took out at the same time I got your clone, right? Kushina asked. He nodded affirmative. They belong to a secret offshoot of the ANBU known as Root. It's run by an elder named Danzo Shimura, and it's something your father and I knew about while he was Hokage. It appears that at some time during your early life he managed to get a hold of you and place several seals on you to limit your growth, strength, intelligence, and your connection to your elemental affinity. These were meant to keep you under control until he could make you disappear into his organization as a weapon, at which point he'd likely have removed your seals slowly to make you think your improvement was all thanks to his training keeping you loyalty to him, Kushina explained. He'll learn his error when we get back, and you will leave him to me. No arguments and no excuses, she growled, and he wasn't about to argue with her. He did, however, ask her one last question, and it's the one she'd expected to be the first one he asked. Where have you been for the last 13 years? For me to answer that, I need to activate a seal called the Mindscape Merger Seal. This will allow me to enter your mindscape where Kurama resides, as this affects him too. I know you're a little nervous about that, but trust me, okay, Naruto-kun? Kushina asked him. He nodded slowly and then held still as she placed the seal on his forehead and silently said, "Activate." Kurama woke up as he felt two presences near his cage. He had been surprised at the way the mindscape around him had been changing from a dank sewer into a massive castle. After he heard the explanation of the seals that he had been unable to keep from being placed, he understood the changes were a reflection of his host's mental facilities normalizing for the first time in 7 years. About time you got here, Red Kit. I guess it's time we got down to business. What in the hell happened to you when that damned Uchiha bastard turned me against you and Blondie? I saw you die, I know I did. Because I'm the one that killed you, he asked, tears forming as he remembered his lowest moment. When out of fear and confusion he'd struck out in an attempt to free himself from the ceiling and ended up impaling his dare he say it friends. Quit with the self-pity, Kurama, it wasn't your fault. Minato and I understood what happened, why you struck out at Naruto, and why we had to get in the way. Mind you, that hurt like hell, you furry son of a bitch, but I'm still here. A steely gaze in her eye as she spoke to the bijou that she had helped for almost 15 years herself. I knew the blow struck, and the damage it did, but without me how did you survive? All I remember was a flash of bright light, and then seeing you fade away the same way it was said your family and Hyuga did during their final battle. I thought that I had killed you, Red, so I need to know what happened. Kurama was urgent in his demand for answers, and both Naruto and Kushina could see that his guilt was eating him. You said this affects both of us, Mom, so tell us the truth, we deserve to know. Even the damned fox doesn't deserve to have that much guilt eating at him, Naruto said with a strong amount of conviction. Like mother like son, he's got her backbone. There might be some hope for the kid yet. Kurama thought to himself, rather impressed with his host's willingness to stand up for the one who was the cause of his pain throughout most of his life. Kushina looked at both, sighed, and then explained, You really are my son, aren't you? The truth is, well, I didn't even know the truth until you literally washed up in Yuzu a few days ago. Kurama, the image you saw of me fading away was a genjutsu activated by a seal placed on me by my father before I ever came to Konoha. In the event that I suffered fatal or near fatal wounds, in this case your big ass claw running me through it was to activate it and hide what really happened to me. Kushina paused for a second. Yuzu was never really destroyed, the ruins there are an illusion. Everyone was transported into a pocket dimension when they suffered wounds that normally would have killed them. Once there they were in stasis until their wounds were healed. That is what happened to me as well. I was teleported to the pocket dimension with my family where I was nursed back to health. Time there I discovered was slowed to the point where 13 years only felt like a month's time to me. When you arrived your blood released the seal returning the city to this dimension, me along with it. My father, your grandfather removed the seals hindering you, Naruto, and I'm guessing I have you to thank for keeping my son alive and sane, Fuzzball? Alive, yes, sane, that's open to debate. The seals were placed on him when he was 5, right after he was kicked out of the orphanage, while I was exhausted from healing his wounds. His blood kept the full effect of the seals from kicking in or he'd have been a vegetable. Be glad you're an Uzumaki kid or it would have been worse. I kept the worst ones from even being activated, but I was too tired to stop them all until it was too late. Danzo tried to keep him underground, but Anbu picked up on my flare of chakra and homed in. After that he never had another chance to try again. Say what you want about that old bastard, he's sneaky as hell and stubborn, but the old mule wearing the hat is more so, was the explanation Kurama gave. At least now I know what happened, now let's get to the fun part, Red. I take it you'll be training the brat, right? Kushina smiled and nodded yes. Good, Brad, I'll make you the same deal I did with Red here. I'll work with you and help you get strong enough to protect those close to you. In return I want access to your senses. I want to be able to see and feel the real world again, even if it's through your eyes. When you're ready we'll have our duel to see if I get my full freedom or if I give you my full power, but you have to earn the right to that. Red won't let me take control, so that's out, but that doesn't mean I like living in a cage. Red here will give you instructions on how to reshape this place and train you how to use my strength. I'll teach you my tricks and show you how to become stronger than you ever thought possible. My final price is you find that damned Uchiha who caused all this and rip him a new one. Deal? Deal, was Naruto's reply. Why Kurama, you old softy, why the change, other than my return that is? Kushina asked with a laugh. Don't get me wrong, Red, if you hadn't returned he'd have had hell getting to this point, but with all he's been through he's earned some of my respect. The kid's a tough little bastard, too stubborn to quit, much like a certain redhead I know, and too tough to go down, like a certain blonde bastard I used to know. He earned this much on his own, Kurama explained. Good enough, alright Naruto, let's start your training. For starters we'll make this place a bit more comfortable for Big, Fuzzy, and Grumpy there, Kushina stated before she explained how he needed to concentrate, and what to picture in his mind to change things. An hour later the mindscape had completely changed. Gone was the cage, the castle and the walls. In its place was an open field with rolling hills and a giant mountain complete with cave. In the cave, on a giant feathered bed in front of a huge TV, Kurama sat with a large spiked collar. On the collar hung a single medallion with the kanji for CO written on it. Kurama smiled as he watched the outside world through his TV and thanked both before they exited. By Kami, she still remembers. This should be a fun ride. I wonder if he is the one father told us about. Guess only time will tell, he thought as he drifted off to sleep. I think that's enough for one night, brat. Let's go get some rest. Tomorrow you'll need it, Kushina told Naruto with a grin as they headed back to the house. Neither noticed Kakashi as he removed the illusion covering him. He watched them walk back with a smile. Kushina, it's good to have you back. We all needed you him more than most. Give him hell, he thought as he followed his only family back. The next morning. Off your ass and on your feet, breakfast is ready, get down here and eat, was the shout that woke Team 7 up. Naruto was the first down to the table and attacked his food with a vengeance as the rest of his team made their way over. Hey Baka, save some for the rest of us, Sakura shouted at Naruto. What was that? Came a dark voice from behind her. I don't quite think I heard you correctly. Care to repeat it, dear? Asked the voice again, causing Sakura to shudder in fear. Now Kushina-chan, I'm sure it was an honest mistake, right Sakura? Kakashi's voice came from the couch. Surely she and Sasuke haven't forgot what happened yesterday. Already have my cute little genin? No, Kakashi-sensei, came the quick response from the aforementioned genin. Kakakun, here, take these and test those too while I deal with my son. Don't let me catch you slacking off either. Naruto, be a dear and send about 20 clones to the bridge and keep an eye on things. Help out as well if they need it, but other than that you're coming with me, Kushina told Naruto as she handed 2 chakra testing slips to Kakashi. I've got a challenge for you, Kakakun. Eh? And what would that be, Kushina-chan? That by the time we get back we have this team ready to beat any other genin team in Konoha. You take those 2 for the first 3 days and get them ready while I am my brat and the girl Haku. After the 3 days we'll combine the group to get them used to working together. Why Haku? Kakashi asked. I know Zabuza asked you to look after her, not that you gave him any choice, but what part does she play in all this? She'll be teamed with you and me against the brats to test them all before we get home. Trust me, with the shitstorm that's coming they'll need all the training they can get. Go with Minato's heavy hitter plan. Kushina laughed as Kakashi slightly paled. That far? Kakashi asked. Yup, whip them into shape, they'll need it, was her response. Alright, Sasuke, Sakura, each of you take one of these papers and channel chakra through it. We're gonna find your elemental affinities, Kakashi said as he handed his group the papers. Sasuke's immediately crinkled up and started to smolder a little while Sakura's crumbled apart. Okay, well, there's some good news. Sasuke, you have a strong lightning affinity like me, and a secondary fire affinity probably due to training your family's jutsu so much. It's a little rare for a genin like you to have 2 affinities, but I have jutsus that you can learn. Sasuke beamed at the news while Sakura smiled at him. Sakura, your affinity is earth, which given your strength makes sense. I've got several earth jutsus I can teach you as well. Hear that, Naruto? Sasuke-kun has 2 affinities, told you he was better than you, Sakura bragged. Sasuke heard this and smiled a bit as he thought, I don't care who his mother is, I'd like to see him top that. Well, Naruto-kun, I was gonna wait till we got to our training area, but since your teammates are so curious you saw what they did, go for it. Haku, I'm aware you know your affinities, mine are lightning and water, yours are water and wind, correct? Kushina asked as she handed the paper to Naruto. Yes, Kushina-san, Zabuza tested me when he found me, Haku replied from the stairwell. No sand crap, Haku, you'll be living with me and Naruto here, so screw the honorifics. As far as I'm concerned, you're my new daughter, get used to it, Kushina said with a grin as she watched a matching one alight Haku's face. Yes ma'am, was Haku's response before she got an evil idea. Actually, I guess that should be Ka-san now, shouldn't it? Kakashi and Naruto laughed as Kushina face vaulted. Oh, I think we'll get along just fine, dear. Ka-san will work, Haku-chan. Kushina responded with a laugh. Both turned back to Naruto, only to see everyone staring at the paper in Naruto's hand. Upon chakra being channeled into it, the paper had immediately split down the center, the left side crinkling up and the right turning into a soggy mess. Kakashi looked on with an eye smile as both Sasuke and Sakura's jaw dropped. 3, but how Sasuke-kun only has 2? What's that mean, Kakashi-sensei? How can Naruto have more than Sasuke-kun? He was rookie of the year, and Naruto was the dead last? Sakura sputtered out. Well, given that his mother is dual lightning/water affinity, which is common for the Uzumaki clan, and I know his father had wind/lightning affinities, so it's not too surprising. The Uzumaki clan has a history of rare individuals having 3 or more affinities, if I'm not mistaken, Kushina? Kakashi asked. Yes, the last was my father, the Uzukage, who had lightning, water, earth as his affinities. Looks like it skipped a generation, Kakashi. Why don't you send your students outside? They seem a little stunned, Kushina asked Kakashi, who simply nodded and sent Sasuke and Sakura outside. They both looked up when they heard Naruto's voice. Hey mom, why is the paper doing this? The top left corner of the paper that had crinkled had a wisp of smoke coming from it, while the top right corner of the soggy half had smeared mud on the table. Kushina looked up at Kakashi slightly stunned. How is that Kurama? It has to be, Kushina thought. The majority is simple. You have a strong, and I mean very strong affinity to wind, water, and lightning, all three of the elements your father and I used. As for the rest I'm not sure, but it looks like you have a small affinity to both earth and fire as well. I'm wondering if that's due to the fox, but for now we'll focus on the major affinities and keep the other two quiet, agreed? Kushina asked. Agreed, the team is gonna be mad enough as it is, no need to rub it in any deeper, Naruto grinned as he said that. That's more maturity than I thought you capable of, Naruto, Kakashi remarked. What did you expect, dog-sensei? Was the immediate response. Ma, for you to wait a minute, what did you call me? Kakashi asked, not sure if he'd heard correctly. Dog, your ANBU code name, Naruto said quietly. Thanks for looking out for me all this time, Oniai-san. Of course, Otuto Water Big Brothers 4. Kakashi said with sad smile as he remembered the times he couldn't protect his surrogate little brother. Kushina, I'm headed out, whip him into shape for me, K? You know it, like I'd let my son slack off. She replied with an evil grin. Come on son, time to get the training started, Kushina said as she, Haku, and Naruto headed off into the woods. I know you can make at least 400 clones easily, right? Kushina asked her son. More like about 850 before I started to get a little eye checked. Before the seal was released my maximum was 1000 now, I'm not so sure, Naruto answered. Okay, we'll go with 800, I'll make 8 of my own and they'll be instructing in groups of 100 each. 100 will be learning the leaf cutting exercise your father had to do, 100 will do the water shaping exercise, 100 the lightning shaping, 100B will be learning the water bullet jutsu, 100 the great breakthrough wind jutsu, 100 the lightning ball jutsu. 100 will be working on Fuin jutsu, and 100 will be learning one of your father's signature techniques, Kushina said as she held up a spiraling ball of chakra for him to see. The Rasengan. Nobody except Minato knew. I know it because I helped him make it. Before you ask, no Hiraishi until you master Fuin jutsu, so don't ask. Before we get back you will know 3 jutsus of your main affinities and the Rasengan at the least. The faster you learn the techniques and master them, the faster we can move on, so get hopping. Naruto wasted no time making the clones and sending them off before he asked his mother, okay, so what am I going to be working on? She smiled as she unsealed a pair of dull-bladed training katanas, tossing one to him, the other to Haku. The 2 of you will be learning the whirling tide sword style from me, now let's get to work, she said with a sadistic grin. The screams could be heard from 3 miles away for the rest of the day. That evening Kushina and Kakashi looked in on all 4 kids as they lay passed out in the rooms. So what's the damage? Kakashi asked. Sasuke already knows the Grand Fireball and Phoenix Flower jutsus, so I taught him the Lightning Release Wall. Sakura, I taught the Earth-style Headhunter jutsu. After they learned the signs I had them practice them until they could do them in less than 30 seconds. Then I had them test the max times they could use the techniques. 30 times total for Sasuke and 20 times for Sakura. She's working on building her reserves. How about Naruto? Next I'll work on Earth Wall and Lightning Saban for them before we head back and give Sakura the healing jutsu scroll the villagers gave us. With her control she'd make a great medic. He mastered the water bullet, lightning ball, and wind great breakthrough jutsus. Got 3/4 through the leaf cutting exercise, can mold water into 5 primary shapes, lightning into 4 shapes. He is a Fuin jutsu prodigy, the brat took to it like a sponge, I've never seen anything like it. It's only the first day and he can make a perfect class 3 storage seal, and a stage 2 explosive note. It's like Minato on steroids. If the brat keeps this up he'll reach my level in a couple of months. He's also at novice level with the Whirling Tides blade style. The brat could learn to use weapons since he's ambidextrous. The final thing is he's already on stage 2 of learning his father's signature move. Kushina laughed at the look on Kakashi's face. What? Who do you think helped him make the Rasengan in the first place? It's not my fault he can make 800 shadow clones easily and train all day. Naruto has a lot of catching up to do, and the seals being removed lets him learn fast. How fast we don't know yet, but when he hits his limit I'll slow down. For now I'm gonna train him into the ground, Kushina stated sagely. He'll still have to learn the water clone, lightning clone, wind blade, water dragon, lightning dragon, and wind dragon jutsus, as well as mastering his elemental shaping / leaf cutting before we recombine the Team O, and I'd imagine if he gets those done fast enough I'll teach him a few Uzumaki attacks. Lightning storm and crushing whirlpool should suit him. Kakashi looked at Kushina, shook his head, and smiled. You are one sadistic bitch, Kaa-chan, but if you think he can handle it, who am I to argue? Minato would have been harder on him. Oh, and when we get back I need you to get Sasuke's Avenger issue kicked in the head, but it also that if you can do that I can safely teach him the Chidori. Kushina gave him a sad smile. If I didn't help her son Makoto would never forgive me, trust me I'll set him to rights. I'll do what I can, the rest will be up to him, but first I have to deal with a few issues with the council. In Konoha's civilian council meeting. For some reason the entire civilian council had the same deep sense of foreboding at the same time, as though they had angered a sleeping dragon, but in their arrogance shook it off, secure in their belief that they were untouchable. The Hokage Tower. The Hokage looked up from the report he'd had ANBU compile regarding the state of the Namikaze/Uzumaki inheritance Naruto was to receive one day, and had discovered that several of the civilian counselors had been siphoning off large chunks for themselves. Half of the amount taken, however, disappeared somewhere else. And if he had to guess, it had been sent to Root. I don't know what kind of hornet's nest is going to be stirred when Kakashi gets home, but the council and Danzo will regret their actions dearly, he thought to himself. Cat, find the bastards who are responsible and send Ibiki a few new playmates. Hi, Cat responded before he sent the message over the radio. House cleaning is in effect. On the road to Konoha from Wave Country 1.5 weeks later. Team 7 had already said their goodbyes to Tazuna's family and the rest of the village. Both Naruto and Kushina had been surprised to know the bridge had been named the Great Uzumaki Bridge. Kushina and Kakashi had run Team 7 into the ground until the team met their standards. All three genin were at least at a high chunin level. They had learned to integrate their new skills into their teamwork and their roles. Sasuke was a fast strike fighter, quick in, quick out, precision lightning strikes, and the lightning Senban he'd been taught was what he worked with. Sakura fit in the medic/defensive support role, using earth jutsus to both hide and defend herself and her teammates, as well as learning the basics of the mystic palm jutsu contained in the scroll. Naruto was the area effect heavy hitter. With his elemental clones, multiple shadow clones, and large area effect jutsus, he could clear a battle space and shape the battles to come. And then there was the Rasengan that he still needed 2 hands to do passable, but he knew it wasn't complete. The spar between Team 7 and the team of Kakashi, Kushina, and Haku had ended in a loss, but only because Naruto had gotten caught covering his team's retreat after Sasuke and Sakura had run out of chakra. Since they got away but he got caught, it resulted in an overall team loss. Kushina was proud of the way her son had handled himself, and even Sakura and Sasuke were surprised when they'd heard what he'd done after they had run out of chakra. Neither could fully understand why he had done that, even if it was a full-on spar, and his only response confused them more. If this was a real battle, I'd do whatever it takes to protect my friends, was all he told them. Kushina had never been more proud of her son. Kakashi had sent a messenger hawk ahead to request the Hokage meet the team outside the village as a matter of importance, and warned him of possible Root attempts to interfere. The message had been received, and when Team 7 was 10 miles out from Konoha, they were met by the Hokage, who was escorted by 3 ANBU. Hey Gigi. What's with the early welcome? Naruto asked when he saw the entourage. Well, Naruto, your sensei said there were some matters that needed to be addressed away from prying eyes. So Kakashi, what has happened on your mission to merit my meeting you out here? Not to mention the trouble I had getting out of sight for this meeting. I have a hunch it involves young Naruto here, but why are there 2 extra people with you? Hiruzen asked. Well, Hokage-sama, the mission itself was a success even with the upgraded rank. The issue is with one of our 2 guests and how the council will respond. The first is Haku, former apprentice of Zabuza Momochi, now ward of our second guest, and prospective ninja for Konoha. The second, well, I'll let her introduce herself, Kakashi said with a slight grin. That grin only got larger as the collective jaws of the Hokage and his ANBU escorts dropped at the sight of the second person removing her hood. It can't be, I watched her, it had to be a seal, Hiroko, you sneaky bastard. She's back with us, and none too soon, Hiruzen thought. Kushina Uzumaki, you are a sight for this old man's eyes. I never thought that it'd be you that returned, but I should have suspected something like this from the Uzumaki clan. He told her. So you found the scroll. Father wasn't sure if you would figure it out or not, but that's neither here nor there. Konoha in general and the damned civilian council plus a few elders have a lot to answer for regarding my son. And believe me, I intend to see that they do answer for it. Any questions? She asked in a no-nonsense tone. Only that you let me record you cleaning out this rat's nest that I've had to deal with, my dear, he said with a grim smile. Oh, and by the way, Kushina, it's good to have you back. Old man, it's good to be back, but I can think of a few people who are going to regret my return, she said with a dark grin. Well, dear, why are we standing here? Let's get to it. Cat, call an emergency council meeting for 1 hour from now. Time to go to work and clean some house, Hiruzen Sarutobi, Sandaime Hokage said with a grin as the group headed towards Konoha. On the road to Konoha ahead of the rest of the group. Just so you know, old man, my son will be in the council as well as me, Kushina told the Hokage with a sadistic grin. At the bare minimum, the civilian council has a lot to answer for regarding my son, and they will damned well do so. You really are going to push every one of their buttons, aren't you? Hiruzen asked her with a smirk. I have to ask though, how far are you willing to go? You do realize the laws I put in place regarding your son, right? Kakashi told me, and I told Naruto the truth about his family, both sides of his family. Before you say anything, according to Kakashi, I'm listed as dead, therefore am off the Konoha ninja registry. I am, however, still listed as an active ninja for Yuzu. This means that I fall under the direct orders of the Uzukage. This letter should explain everything, said Kushina as she handed the Hokage a scroll from the Uzukage. The Hokage nodded solemnly as he opened the letter. Its contents surprised him greatly. Hiruzen. If you are reading this note, then my daughter and grandson have made it safely to Konoha. First off, allow me to thank you for sending Naruto and allowing the seal that kept us locked away to be released. That said, you and your village have many things to answer for regarding Naruto's well-being. When he arrived here, my grandson was malnourished, had evidence of multiple assaults, and had multiple seals placed on him. My daughter will be investigating these crimes as my envoy. She is under direct orders to reveal to her son the truth of his parentage should he not already know, and the extent of what has been done to him. Only the fact of our friendship in the past has held me back from marching on Konoha and demanding blood. Kushina has a higher claim as his mother, and I ask not to be interfered with as she hands out my judgment on those involved. This is an S-ranked mission for her to carry out, and any attempts to hinder her will be seen as an act of war against Yuzu in general, and the Uzumaki clan in particular. I have no doubt, however, that you will aid her in her mission as she is still listed as an active Yuzunin, especially since you likely have her listed as Kia from your roster. That means she's subject to my orders and laws, not yours. You're welcome for the loophole, Hiruzen, but be assured you and I need to come to an understanding regarding my grandson's treatment, and the effect your laws may have had on it. Hiroko Uzumaki. Naidame Uzukage. Well, Kushina, I wish I could say this was unexpected, but I'd be lying. I truly have failed, Naruto, Minato, and you haven't I? He asked her sadly. He was surprised when she stopped, grabbed him by the shoulders, looked him in the eye for a moment, and then wrapped him in a hug. Old man, my son is alive, is not a weapon, and will heal. He has friends, protectors, and a small family of sorts from what I've been told, including his Gigi. So no, you haven't failed us, disappointed maybe with what you let the council pull, but you haven't failed yet. You give up now and you will have failed, so pull your head out of your ass. We've still got a village to kick in the ass, Kushina told him. You really are too forgiving to an old man like me, my dear, and I see where Naruto gets it from. Now that we've settled that, let's get back and clear the air with those civilian bastards. And while we're on the subject, I presume the seals mentioned in the letter are why you warned me about root involvement. What has Danzo done? He asked as he slipped back into the God of Shinobi mode. The rest of the way back to the village, Kushina explained what had been done to her son in great detail. As they reached the gates, he had Kushina and Haku place ANBU masks on themselves so as not to be recognized. Kakashi, take the remainder of your team, and young Haku to your regular training grounds until this matter is finished. Naruto, I need you and your mother to come with me to the council chambers. No one is to speak of who you returned with on my direct orders, understood? Hi, Hokage-sama. Kakashi replied. Alright, let's get out of here, he told his charges. Why does the dobe get special treatment? He shouldn't be going with the Hokage. If anyone should be getting that treatment, it should be me. I'm the last Uchiha, damn it. I'll figure out his secrets, and then he'll be forced to give those secrets to me. Sasuke thought to himself as they followed Kakashi. Crazy baka, I bet my mom and her friends will skin both of them alive for how they've treated me and Sasuke. Once they read the mission report, their heads are gonna roll, Sakura thought to herself. Kakashi looked at his students, and guessing the direction they were thinking, decided to head them both off at the pass. Despite what you may think, the civilian council has no power over either Kushina or Naruto. Naruto falls under the Hokage's command, and Kushina has been listed as Kia for over 13 years here. Normally this would put her under the civilian council's command, however, as she has dual citizenship to Uzushiogakure, she is listed as an active ninja with their forces. Therefore she falls under the command of the Uzukage, not the Hokage. As far as the council is concerned, she's untouchable until the Hokage reinstates her. Even that is her choice though, she doesn't have to return to Konoha's active service. But why wouldn't she? If she's Naruto's mother, then she'd have to stay here to be around him. Of course, with a baka like Sakura was saying before she almost ran into Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei? Is something the matter? Yes, the attitude you both seem to have towards your teammate is unbecoming of a member of both Team 7 and of the Konoha ninja forces. Therefore I am giving the both of you a direct order. Should this behavior and treatment continue, I will remove you from this team and have you removed as ninja of Konoha. Am I clear? He shouted at the two genin. But Sakura started. You can't, Sasuke started. I can, and I will as your Jonin sensei report you as unfit to continue as shinobi for Konoha, and the Hokage will support my findings. You, Sakura, have a fangirl attitude, a complete disregard for the safety of one of your team members and an obsession with the other. You, Sasuke, have an arrogant, self-entitled attitude and would likely abandon your team if it would give you a shot at your brother whom you are in no way capable of beating as you are now. If I so desire, I can have you both examined by Inoichi, and he will confirm my findings. Shut up, shape up, and grow the fuck up both of you, Kakashi shouted at both of them. His anger at their treatment, at the village's treatment as a whole of Naruto finally forcing his temper to surface. Let's follow our orders, and get to the training ground on the double, he told his stunned team. They nodded quickly and followed after, unsure of what exactly they had done to warrant their sensei's uncommon bout of temper, and unwilling to provoke it any further. Council Chambers. Danzo Shimura was not a happy man. Over the last week he had been receiving reports from the civilian council that disturbed him. First there was the report of several council members' accountants being arrested for no reason. Then several of those members had found their accounts frozen this morning. There was also the increased activity of the Hokage's personal ANBU scene carrying out various investigations, and many civilians that owned or operated businesses that had been known to overcharge, mistreat, or deny any service to the demon brat were brought in for questioning. His own root agents attempted to follow the investigation but were forced to withdraw as the ANBU were showing signs of being aware of their presence. He had also lost contact with one of his agents in the field who was assigned to watch the Hokage. This disappearance and the actions of the ANBU were what he had been currently investigating before the emergency summons arrived. Surely he couldn't have found out. After all this time? No, if this was about Root he'd have approached me in private. At least as long as this is a full council meeting I'm safe. My pawns in the council are unaware, and I have both Fu and Torian here to watch my back. Here I am untouchable even to the Hokage. So now we just need to figure out what's going on with the summons. I wonder if it has anything to do with the Demon Brat's team returning a little while ago. Danzo pondered. He looked up from his thoughts as the door to the chamber opened and 3 individuals entered. 2 he recognized as the Hokage and Naruto Uzumaki. The third was wearing a blood-red ANBU mask. Maybe he finally stepped far enough out of line that the Hokage is going to give him to me for training as a weapon. It's what he should have done long ago, Danzo thought while fighting a smirk at the thought. This chamber will come to order, the Hokage shouted, banging on the gavel. What's going on? Why have we been summoned? A fat merchant counselor asked. What's the big idea? I had plans, and why is that thing here? Spat a member of the banking association. It has no business here, Hokage-sama, so why do we have to suffer its foul odor? Asked another councilwoman. I believe I called for order, did I not? The Hokage asked, leaking a small amount of killing intent into the room. The civilians began to sweat a little while the clan heads began to wonder themselves why young Naruto was present in the room. Hyuga was the first to come to enough of a conclusion to ask, Hokage-sama, has there been a crime committed that would require young Uzumaki to come before us? Funny that you should ask that. In fact, yes, there has been a crime, many crimes committed. None of them by Naruto here, but in fact against him and his family's silence. He shouted as the civilian council attempted to protest. One of the more prominent councilors chose not to listen and made a fatal mistake. The only crime committed is that the demon brat is still alive, he shouted. Before anyone could say another word, a metal claw attached to a long chain ripped the councilor's heart from his chest. The rest of the council was too stunned to say anything, and none noticed as the claw retracted underground to return to the still masked Kushina. A large amount of killing intent filled the room, causing many civilian councilors to fall unconscious, many others to defecate themselves. Please, Hokage-sama, you've made your point, you can stop now before they all pass out, Danzo said. Who said it was me doing it? Hiruzen asked Danzo. This caused the rest of the clan heads to search for the source. The civilians that had come to immediately began to blame Naruto, only to have the Hokage silence them again. Hyuga activated his Byakugan silently to search for the source. When he found it emanating from the ANBU next to Naruto, his interest was intensified. As he tried to identify the ANBU, he was stunned to see the mask turn to face him directly, allowing him to identify her. His reaction caused Kushina to nod as she realized he recognized her, and she used the ANBU hand codes to tell him to sit back and enjoy the show. Too stunned at the revelation, all Hyuga could do was nod. Shikaku Nara noticed both Hyuga's actions and the hand code he was sent, and decided it was too troublesome to intervene. That's enough, my dear, please stop, Hiruzen told her. Kushina's amusement at the civilian counselor's predicament ended as she stopped the ki she had been flooding the room with. I believe the application of the law where young Naruto is concerned has been enlightening for the rest of you, he asked the civilian council. Carrying on, he looked at the entire council and decided to end the farce. The reason the council has been summoned here is because it has come to my attention that the civilian council in general and several members in particular have taken it upon themselves to bring about the beatings, muggings, and robberies of Naruto Uzumaki, or as you told your cohorts, the demon brat, to include the theft of a large portion of his inheritance. At this revelation, a group of 12 counselors began to fear for their lives, and tried to think of a reason to leave. All 12 looked up to find ANBU standing directly behind them. Each of you have been found guilty and sentenced to death. However, the ANBU behind you are simply to prevent you from leaving. You will now be questioned regarding your involvement. Please go ahead, he told Kushina. What was the reason for having Naruto Uzumaki beaten and attacked as a child? She asked. To drive him to our benefactor, or with luck to have him killed. They responded, looking shocked as they did so. For what reason would you want him dead? He was only a child at the time, no threat to you, was her next question. He's the Kyuubi demon and killed many of our family members. He deserved to die, was their shocked response. None of them could believe that they were telling the truth. And the theft of his inheritance? Came another question. He's a demon that doesn't deserve the money. It went where it could actually do our families and benefactor some good, they replied in tears. Those sorry bastards, I hope she makes them squirm, Naruto thought to himself. Just wait, Kit. If I know your mother, she's got a plan. I bet you didn't notice all the chairs that have seals on them, did you? Kurama asked his container. Not at first, but you know just as well as I do, Mom has been beating it into my head that situational awareness is a must. Looks like most of the clan heads have figured out the seals on their chairs are simply to keep them from getting involved. Danzo, on the other hand, hasn't quite figured out there are several seals on his chair too, Naruto thought back in response. Kushina nodded and watched out of the corner of her eyes as Danzo was silently squirming in his seat. Then she asked her next question. What did your benefactor want with Naruto? To turn him into a weapon under our control, was the instant reply. Why? She asked. To ensure that he could never turn on us should he ever discover the truth, came the tearful response. One last question before your sentence is carried out. Who is your benefactor? She asked coldly. Game on/game on, Naruto and Kurama thought at the same time, slowly stepping out of the line of fire should Danzo or his two hidden root agents attempt to use him as a hostage. As one, they all looked against their will and said, Danzo Shimura. What lunacy is this? How dare you? This is an outrage. Danzo protested as by this time the entire council had turned to look at him. No lunacy, Danzo. Each of the counselors has a powerful seal on their chair, placed by the individual in front of you. These seals prevent them from lying to her. All we have been told is the truth. No manner of compulsion can make them lie, the Hokage told his old friend sadly. I think it's time everyone here knew the truth. Naruto is not an orphan, at least not anymore. His mother has recently returned to us. I believe you all know her, as he said as Kushina removed her mask. Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, wife of Minato Namikaze, mother of Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, ambassador of Hiroko Uzumaki, Nadime Yuzukage of Yuzushiogakure. And the last thing you pieces of filth will ever see, she said coldly as she executed the counselors she had been questioning. The clan heads were all stunned except Hayashi. The elders looked on in fear, and Danzo in rage as his pet council members lay dead on the floor. The cold look she gave him promised nothing but pain. Why? She asked Danzo. Was it for the village? No, it was to ensure I became Hokage. To ensure that my will, not the weak will of fire, was what pushed this village. With the boy under my control, no one could have stopped me from bringing the elemental nations under my control, he said coldly. So I see you placed the same seals on my chair as well. She nodded, and he simply smiled. No matter, Fu. I think not, Kushina said as her chains wrapped around both root agents before either could react, easily breaking their necks. Danzo looked in fear as the chains removed the wrappings from his arm and his face. What manner of monstrosity is this? She demanded as the exposed Sharingans were revealed to the entire council. What would compel you do something so horrifying to yourself, and who did it? Power, pure and simple, Kushina. Power that you and your foolish husband could never understand. Power that fool Hiruzen could never overcome. Power that will allow me to end this foolish game and end you all. As for who did it, simple Orochimaru owed me a favor for getting him several test subjects. A shame I couldn't make your brat one of them, Danzo answered, surprising everyone with how calm he was. Die, Kushina snarled as she sent one of her chains through his heart, destroying the chair he was seated in. Izanagi, was the silent whisper she heard. To her surprise, Danzo disappeared and reappeared unharmed next to the seat he had been in. Thank you, my dear. Without you destroying the chair, and consequently the seals you placed on it, I really would have been dead. Danzo laughed at the look on her face before he launched his counterattack. Wind release. Great breakthrough. The resulting blast took Kushina by surprise, and she was blown outside of the council hall and into the village. The villagers stared in shock as Danzo leapt after her and pressed his attack. Wind release. Vacuum blade. Kushina rolled out of the way of the blade of wind only to see it destroy several buildings behind her. You'd destroy your own village? She asked him. If it is in my path to power, then yes, I would, he told her. Several ANBU attempted to join the fight only to be waved off by Kushina. This is my fight, you bastards, stay out of it. If you want something to do, then go protect the Hokage and my son. If any of you interferes, I'll kill you myself. Hi, Uzumaki-san, Wolf replied to her, as they leapt out of the way to watch. And what makes you think you can stop me, Kushina? Danzo asked as he circled her. You can't kill me because of Izanagi, and I have far more tricks up my sleeve. Simple, Because if I don't, there's no telling what you'll do to my son, she said as she leapt forward and caught Danzo on the temple with a haymaker blow. Danzo flipped back and countered with a hard kick aimed at her ribs, which he blocked before using his leg as a lever to launch him down the street, then followed behind him rapidly. Danzo jumped up and tried to catch her with an uppercut that she simply leaned away from before headbutting him. Danzo leapt away and began his hand signs before launching another jutsu, Mukatan, with spears. Kushina dodged to the side and sent her counter-attack, Water Release, Water Dragon, followed immediately by Lightning Release, Lightning Dragon. Danzo jumped above the Water Dragon only to have it follow him up. The Lightning Dragon was attacking from above, allowing both attacks to sandwich Danzo in the middle. Izanagi. Danzo reappeared behind Kushina where he launched another wind blade towards her. You know, I'm really getting tired of that damned Izanagi crap, Danzo, Kushina said. A shame you have no way to counter it, isn't it? He replied. Danzo had to dodge as a chakra chain burst out of the ground beneath him, only to be swatted out of the sky by 3 more. Danzo spat up blood and could tell that she had broken several ribs and possibly caused him internal bleeding. It seems you haven't lost your touch, my dear. A shame you are not weak-minded enough to be tricked into joining me. Not on your life, you bastard, Kushina growled back. Indeed, that is a shame, although not unexpected. It is, however, time to finish this, Danzo told her confidently. Mukatan, emerging forest, nothing happened. What? How? He asked in shock as he tried again only to fail once more. You forget, Danzo, that I am an Uzumaki and a seal master of the highest order. I realize that Izanagi only reverse fatal wounds, but if your chakra is sealed you cannot use it, Kushina said calmly as she walked towards him. The chakra chains, he said, shaking his head. Bingo, Kushina replied as she leveled him with a roundhouse kick. Now, let's get some answers. Uzumaki sealing art, memory release. That unlocks the memories you have sealed off, she told a stunned Danzo. Uzumaki sealing art, memory transfer. Now everything you know, I will know. After a few minutes, Kushina stood up and looked at the defeated Danzo with pure hatred. You twisted sick piece of shit, they were children. They were tools, nothing more, Danzo said to her. Now you know the true meaning of the darkness of Konoha. May it forever haunt you. I may have a few nightmares, but you will never see the light of another day. Your life ends here, Danzo, Kushina told him coldly. Where are my root and bu? They should have intervened by now to get me out of here, Danzo thought in panic. There are contingency plans set for something like this. I bet you're wondering where your pet army is right about now, aren't you? Kushina smiled as his eyes widened a little. All those eyes and you could never see the truth in front of you. Just like when Hiruzen was given the hat over you, and then Orochimaru was passed over for Minato. Your way doesn't work. Yes, there is a need for root, but not the way it is under you. You truly underestimated the Hokage, and that was caused your downfall. As soon as you were summoned to the council, he activated barrier seals over your root compounds, trapping them inside. He's been on to you since one of your agents tried to stick his nose into business he never belonged in. Since then, that agent has been under Inoichi's control. You gave him the perfect tool to trap the rest of your forces with. Say hello to the Shinigami for me, would you? If it was up to you, I'd probably die here, but alas, the council will see the need to keep me alive, and the Hokage hasn't ordered my death yet, Danzo told her with a smug grin. Kushina gave him a sadistic grin of her own before responding. Who said I am following the old man's orders? Danzo looked at her confused, then in fear as she pulled out her headband. My orders come from my father, Hiroko Uzumaki, the Uzukage. And his order was to destroy you, she said calmly as she unsealed Red Death. Danzo's fear grew as the red blade began to glow. Crushing Tide-style secret art, Soul Stealer, she shouted as she sliced his body in half, going from left hip to the right side of his neck. The ANBU on hand as witnesses looked on in shock as they could see the soul of Danzo Shimura ripped from his body and absorbed into her katana. Kushina looked at them, grinned as she sealed Danzo's remains into a scroll and headed back to the council's chambers. Flashback. Team 7 training grounds at the start of the battle. Sasuke, Sakura and Haku all looked up in shock as a massive flare of chakra was felt coming from the direction of the council chambers. Kakashi-sensei, what's going on? Are we under attack? Sakura asked, unsure of what else to do. It has to be the Hokage himself. No one else is that powerful, and now there are 2 of them. We need to get there fast, Sasuke shouted as he tried to head towards what he knew would be a battle. If I can get there fast enough, I might be able to use the Sharingan to gain more power, he thought to himself with a grin. To his shock, he was grabbed from behind and thrown to the ground by Kakashi. Why would you stop me? I have to go, I have to get stronger. Sasuke shouted, only to watch Kakashi disappear and reappear behind him. That was the last thing he saw before he was knocked unconscious. Sasuke-yun! Sakura shouted in shock. Why? Kakashi-sensei, he was only trying to help, she asked with tears streaming down her face. No, Sakura, he was only trying to ignore the Hokage's direct orders. Tell me, do either of the chakra signals involved seem familiar to either of you? Kakashi asked calmly. Haku looked for a moment. Kushina-chan? Can she really be that powerful? Yes, Sakura, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the truth. The two people fighting are Kushina Uzumaki, Naruto's mother, and Danzo Shimura. Kakashi explained. Danzo, Mom talks about him a little, says he's a crippled, creepy old bastard. Why would Kushina fight him? How can either one of them be so powerful? Sakura asked, stunned. Kushina Uzumaki, should she have desired, would have been the Yondaime Hokage, but stepped aside for one whose dream it had always been. Danzo was the Sandaime's rival for the position long ago, and it seems he's kept up his strength. Remember this feeling. Danzo is known as the Dark Heart of Konoha for his dealings in the shadows. Kushina is the pinnacle of what Kunoichi truly is, right up there along with Tsunade of the Sannin. Those are the ones you should be emulating. That's the goal you should strive for, not chasing after a boy who ignores you because you act like a fangirl. Learn from this, take your training seriously, grow stronger then, and only then will he respect you. After today a lot will change for both Naruto, and for Sasuke, even though he doesn't know it yet. Kushina fights for her son, her lost husband, and the dreams for this village that they share. Danzo fights for power, no more no less. His attempts to harm and control Naruto are now coming back to haunt him, Kakashi lectured his young student. He could tell by the look on her face he had finally started to get through to her. Finally, it's about time she got serious. The girl has potential, she just has to realize it, he thought as he saw the slow change beginning. An hour later, all signs of the battle had stopped, and a messenger hawk arrived to summon the group to the tower. Alright, let's get going, Kakashi said as he picked up Sasuke's limp body. As the three of them walked in silence past the battlegrounds, Sakura looked around in amazement. Is all this just from two people? She asked in awe. Yes, now what do you think would happen to you, the way you currently are, if you really managed to piss Kushina off? Especially the way you treat your teammate, her son? Was the answer and question Kakashi gave as a response. She'd crush me, Sakura bluntly replied, and for the first time she believed it. Exactly, what she did in Wave was a wake-up call for you. How you react is up to you, Kakashi said calmly as the group continued on their way. Maybe Kakashi-sensei is right, maybe I do need to change. But where do I start, and who do I talk to? I hate to say it, but maybe if I ask Naruto, he might talk his mom into helping me, but what's he going to want in return? I still don't want to date him, but maybe if I apologize and explain why. Wait, what the hell is that? Sakura thought to herself. Kakashi-sensei, what is that? She asked as she pointed to one of the holes that Kushina's chakra chains had erupted out of the ground from. What is what? Kakashi asked, confused, looking where she was pointing. On the edge of the hole was a white hand. I don't know, but let's check it out. When they got to it, they noticed an albino-looking man that had a massive hole in his chest. I think we need to let the Hokage know about this, Kakashi said as he sealed the body. Let's hurry, he told the girls as they sprinted to the tower. Council chambers 10 minutes after the battle. Danzo Shimura has been found guilty of crimes against both the villages of Konoha and Yuzu. His execution has been carried out upon the combined order of the Yuzukage Hiroko Uzumaki by Kushina Uzumaki, Hiruzen told the assembled council. Way to go, Kasan, Naruto told his mother. What about his body? Suminazaka asked. Sealed by myself until it can be safely destroyed. Elders Hamaru and Koharu, I take it your heads are feeling a little clearer? Kushina asked. Both nodded affirmative. That's good, as many of you are now aware Danzo Shimura has been controlling much of the council by use of a Sharingan I obtained after his root agents murdered Shushi Uchiha. From this point forward, all those on the civilian council who are under Danzo's control, you will relinquish your seats on the council. Also, the truth of Naruto's parentage will be announced tomorrow. Tonight each of you will announce to your clans and families that the person they have neglected and mistreated for so long is the son of their greatest hero. He will also be granted his inheritance, and should she so choose, Kushina Uzumaki will be allowed to return to active service as a Konoha shinobi, the Hokage told the council. That said, this meeting is adjourned. As the council left, Kushina was approached by Hayashi. It is good to see you after so long, Kushina, and when you get some time, please come to the compound. I am sorry to hear what happened to your wife, and thank you for what you've done for my son. This evening we are free, so how about 7 for dinner? Kushina asked. That would be acceptable. I think it's time the elders learned of the plans we had set so long ago. We'll see you for dinner, and Naruto, I believe my daughters will be happy to see you, Hayashi said as he walked away. Mom, what was that all about? Naruto asked. You'll see at dinner. For now let's head home, Kushina said with a grin as they walked towards the Namake's mansion together. Wait, what about Haku? Naruto asked. The old man is having Kakashi bring her home after he debriefs her. Kushina grinned. Don't worry, your new sister will be fine. I promise. The pair walked to the Namake's mansion together. 10 minutes later, Hokage Tower. Kakashi, I trust you were all safe throughout the unpleasantness? And is there a reason young Sasuke's out cold? The Hokage asked the group. Hi Hokage-sama, we were safe throughout. As for my young genin, he made the mistake of trying to involve himself in the battle. That, however, is a minor matter. On our way here we made a discovery at the battle site. Tell me if you've ever come across anyone like this? Kakashi asked as he unsealed the body. What? No, who is that? The Hokage asked. I was hoping you knew, Kakashi replied. Everyone looked on in shock as the body decayed and fell apart. What in the world? The Hokage asked. Okay Kakashi, I need to know where you found that body and when, the Hokage asked once the shock subsided. Actually Hokage-sama, I wasn't the one who found the body, genin Harino was. While we were passing the battlefield she noticed a hand sticking out from a hole in the ground. Upon further investigation we found the body dead, positioned in a manner to suggest it had been underground when whatever killed it struck, Kakashi reported. The Hokage mused over this revelation before looking at the aforementioned genin. Well done genin Harino, for your efforts you will have a special commendation added to your file, and be given the equivalent bonus for a B-ranked mission. Please consider everything you have seen here classified unless instructed otherwise by me, he told the beaming youngster. Kakashi, if you have nothing more for them, go ahead and have you student take young Haku to get some food while we discuss the matter of young Uchiha here. Hi Hokage-sama. Sakura, go over to the Akimichi barbecue and wait for me there along with Haku. We should be along soon, he told Sakura with a small grin. You did well today. Thank you Hokage-sama, Kakashi-sensei will meet you there. Come on Haku, I'll show you the way, Sakura told Haku, still a bit stunned by what had happened. As soon as the two girls had left the room, both Kakashi and the Hokage looked at each other seriously. Well then Kakashi, now that the pleasantries are out of the way, what's your take on this? How worried do you think we should be? He asked the former ANBU captain. Very. This thing was able to successfully infiltrate the village avoiding all sensor abilities and was discovered by pure chance. If I had to guess, one of Kushina's chakra chains ran it through during the battle, and it was smart enough to wait until the area was clear before attempting to escape. This thing was a smart and skilled spy, Kakashi told the Hokage. We need to discover anything we can from the remains, including where it's from, in order to find a way to prevent this from happening again. True, it's times like this that I wish Tsunade had never left us. Perhaps I can get her to return with the knowledge that Kushina is alive. She was always close to the family, and the choices I was forced to make along with the losses of her lover and little brother are what drove her to leave. I send word to Jiraiya to find her, Hiruzen told Kakashi, still in thought. Cat, take the remains to the ANBU hospital for examination. Keep the remains viable for as long as possible, and have them run DNA tests to see if we can figure out who this was, Hiruzen said before he thought, it's long past time to bring my students home. Add this to the problem of what to do with Root now that Danzo is dead. I'll need both of them here. Hi Hokage-sama, Kat replied as she resealed the body and left. Kakashi watched the ANBU agent leave before he decided to get to the unpleasant matter of Sasuke Uchiha's unconscious form. Hokage-sama, about Sasuke, it's my fault he's like this, he explained, watching as the Hokage motioned him to explain further. Upon our separation from your group, both genins Uchiha and Harino began to belittle their teammate, complaining that it should have been Sasuke who went with you. Their actions previously, their disregard of Naruto, their actions towards him, and their attitudes regarding him finally managed to reach a point I could no longer tolerate. I informed them both of their flaws, as well as informing them if they could not act in a manner befitting a Konoha shinobi I would have them removed from active service. I went so far as to threaten them both with a full psychological exam by the Yamaka clan head himself in order to verify my findings. Sakura appears to have taken what I've said to heart, possibly reaching a turning point. Sasuke not only ignored my warning, but also attempted to ignore your orders to stay out of the battle. His actions would have possibly led to his death, or Kushina's had he succeeded. I took matters into my own hands and knocked him out. His actions need to be addressed, but not by us. Kushina has taken it upon herself to straighten the boy out, as a favor to his mother. I know my actions will cause you troubles once he informs his sycophants on the civilian council, but his actions had to be stopped. I am prepared to take full responsibility for my actions, he explained to the Hokage. Kakashi, you did the right thing. The way he has been fawned on by the civilian council has led him to believe, incorrectly I might add, that his actions have no consequences. Ordinarily this would be an issue, as they would call for your head, or Naruto's. They loved to blame him for anything they could. This would have given me the opportunity to squash them like bugs, as they seem to have forgotten they have no say over the shinobi of this village. Only I do as Hokage, he told Kakashi with a slight grin. Would have? What happened in the meeting, if I might ask? Kakashi asked with a hint of trepidation. Why do I get the feeling the council is short a few members? He thought to himself. You can, and it did. The civilian council has learned to never openly piss off Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. I think the way she executed Danzo should keep them in line for some time, was the reply. Hiruzen laughed as Kakashi registered the use of Kushina's married name. Yes, Kakashi, the secret is out in the council about who Naruto truly is. Normally I'd be afraid of the results, especially if IWA found out, but with her back I pitied the poor bastards if they try anything. The only one they feared more than her was Minato, mainly because of what they did to her family. Should they go after her son especially if Yuzu is back? He laughed as he told Kakashi. Executed Danzo? So it's true about what she told me regarding Naruto, he asked, and the Hokage merely nodded. Kakashi shuddered as he thought to himself, not just mother and family, if they underestimate Naruto now that he is reaching his potential, he'll crush them. That would be the last mistake many of them made if they did, and not just because of Kushina. Naruto is not the same as he was when we left, he truly is his father's his family's legacy, Kakashi told the Hokage. The seals that Danzo placed on him being removed had that much effect? If you had to rate him now, where would you place his skills? He was asked. High Chunin, low Jonin easy. His progress using shadow clones is remarkable now that he knows the secret to them. Given that he routinely makes close to 1,000 at a time to train with, he's become, for lack of a better term, a kami-damned ninjutsu tank high Jonin level, and includes the Rasengan. His few ninjutsu skills are about half what his father's were, easily Jonin level. His taijutsu high Chunin level now using a mix of his father's cheetah style and his mother's kraken style, kenjutsu low Jonin level with his family's whirling tide style, genjutsu low Chunin level. He can now identify and break anything below A rank easily in 2 to 5 seconds, A rank and above in about 30 seconds, still his weakest point but getting much better. Overall, if he wasn't so inexperienced, I'd feel safe taking him on an A-ranked mission. He's not the only one to improve though, which makes Sasuke's actions even worse, Kakashi said with a frown. What do you mean? The Hokage asked, confused. While we were in wave waiting for the bridge to be finished, Kushina and I saw to the training of the full team, and they are easily Chunin level. Each of his team members took to the training for different reasons, Sasuke because of his need to avenge his clan, and Sakura because she had no choice. It was that or face Kushina's wrath, Kakashi said bluntly. If they can learn to accept each other and work as a team, we could have the next generation of Sannin on our hands. However, even with that said, even if they reach their potential, unless we act now, they will fall apart just like the previous Sannin did. This statement made the Hokage look up from his pipe and frown, not only at the memory of what happened to his former genin, but at the thought of the wasted potential of this group of youngsters. If what he says is true, we can't let Sasuke fall to the darkness the way I allowed Orochimaru. I can't let the same thing happen twice. You said Kushina has a plan? Hi, but what it is, I cannot say. Well, knowing her, it'll be long and loud, but in the best I guess it's up to her. No one else has that right, he told Kakashi cryptically. Kakashi looked at the Hokage confused before his unspoken question was answered. Makoto named Kushina godmother to both Itachi and Sasuke. After her death it was never changed. I wonder how Sasuke will take the news. Who gets to tell him? Kakashi asked as he looked at the sleeping Uchiha. I think I'll let Kushina break the news, for now I believe he is waking up. Let's get this over with, he told Kakashi as Sasuke came to and began to realize where he was. Sasuke Uchiha, your actions in defiance of my direct orders will not be accepted. As such, your team will be required to perform the Tora capture mission for the next 2 weeks in punishment. If not for the intervention of Kakashi here, you would be given a full psychological evaluation and removed from active service until found fit to serve. This will not happen again, am I clear? He yelled at the stunned Uchiha heir. Hi, Hokage-sama, it will not happen again, the dejected Sasuke said, still confused as to what had happened after having just woken up. Very well, Kakashi, I believe you have somewhere to be with young Sasuke, to which Kakashi nodded. Very well, please inform your team of the punishment. Kakashi nodded and led Sasuke out of the room. Hiruzen sat back in his chair and looked out over the village while he thought to himself, hurry Kushina, I fear the path that boy is taking, and it's similar to the one you nearly took when you thought you'd lost your family. If anyone can bring him back, it'd be his mother or you. She's gone, so it falls to you. As Kakashi and Sasuke stepped out of the room, he suddenly froze in fear as he realized what he felt was all too likely to happen soon. Oh dear Kami, when we tell Naruto and Sakura they are going to have to do that mission whenever it pops up, I'm going to lose my entire team. Because when Naruto hears it, he's going to kill Sasuke, then Sakura's going to kill him, and then Kushina will brutally murder her, he thought in a panic. In a random training ground in Kumogakure. Achoo! A white-haired boy sneezed, causing the lightning-style jutsu he had been working on to get out of control, and blast right into his red-haired teammate, who was sent right into a boulder, smoking and blackened from the jutsu. What the hell was that, you moron? She shrieked in rage as she peeled herself off the rock and cracked her knuckles, the fearsome image she was trying to project enhanced slightly by a few jolts of residual electricity, mainly from her frazzled hair. Oh crap, the boy said, slowly backing away from his enraged teammate. He never got 10 feet. A kimchi barbecue 20 minutes later. Kakashi and Sasuke walked into the restaurant and had to search to find where Sakura and Haku were. They found the two girls along with Team 10 sitting in a corner booth chatting about the day's activities. Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke-kun, what took so long? Sakura asked the pair when they arrived. Sasuke ignored her question, so Kakashi gave him a nudge and motioned for him to answer. I had a discussion with the Hokage regarding my actions earlier, he managed to force out. He had planned to leave it at that, but the look Kakashi gave him was not one that would allow him to do so. As a result of my actions, Team 7 has been given a punishment duty for the next 2 weeks. What kind of punishment? Sakura asked a little nervously. We are assigned to do a single mission each time it comes up, he said. Now Sakura and Team 10 had a look of fear across their faces. No, but why? What mission? Sakura asked before paling rapidly as she thought, oh Kami, please, not the cat, anything but the cat. The one-word answer was the one every genin dreaded, Tora. At the utterance of the dreaded name, all present save Haku put up the sign to ward off evil. Haku looked on in confusion, unsure of what could be so bad that even the jonins of Team 7 Kakashi Hatake and Team 10 Asuma Sarutobi to shudder in fear. Who or what is Tora, and why are you all so afraid? She decided to ask. The devil, they all said at once. Kakashi looked at Haku for a moment before he decided to explain. Tora is the cat of the fire daimyo's wife. She loves the cat to death, but her constant affections lead the poor thing to run away in fear constantly. That cat does anything and everything it can to prevent its capture and safe return. It is also the only house cat in existence that is capable of using chakra in order to escape. Chakra? But it's a cat, what could it possibly be capable of? She asked, still confused how a simple cat could warrant such a response. I haven't had a chance to tell you all yet, but during the last mission we had to capture it, I learned that the cat is able to channel chakra into its limbs, allowing them to move faster and scratch harder than normal, and worst of all, I learned the cat is a capable sensor. The little bastard can sense the chakra of others, Kakashi explained. Everyone at the table looked at Kakashi in fear. Shikamaru was the first to shake himself out of his fear-driven stupor. That explains a lot about that little devil. I always thought it wasn't a normal cat. Ino looked at both Sasuke and Sakura in confusion. What did Naruto do to? She started before Sakura cut her off. Sasuke-kun, not Naruto is the one responsible, she said to the stunned amazement of Ino and Kakashi. Both for different reasons. Ino because she couldn't believe that Sakura would blame Sasuke-kun for anything, and Kakashi because she not only corrected her friend, but also placed the blame where it really belonged. She's right, Sasuke said. I allowed my emotions to cloud my judgment and disobeyed a direct order. I still think it's unfair, but I screwed up, he admitted. Kakashi looked at him for a moment, and then decided to test Sasuke a little bit. If we had been on a mission, what could have happened if you'd gone off on your own half-cocked like that? He asked Sasuke. I could have been killed, was the response. Not just you, your entire team, think about that. Haku, I hope you've enjoyed meeting everyone, but let's get you home, Sasuke. Sakura, I'll see you at training ground 12 at 7 a.m. He smiled as he and Haku left. Hyuga compound 6 hours later. Hayashi Hyuga looked at his daughters as they awaited their guests. He knew, just as almost all of Konoha did, about his oldest daughter Hinata's crush on the Uzumaki boy. He also had recently learned that his youngest Hanabi had become friends of sorts with Naruto, via the young Sarutobi boy Konohamaru. He knew that the elders disapproved of this, and also considered Hinata weak. There had been talk of replacing her with Hanabi as heir, and branding Hinata with the caged bird seal. He hoped this dinner would be a step in the direction of preventing that. Unknown to the elders, he was well aware who Naruto's parents were. His wife had been Kushina's teammate coming out of the academy. They had made plans to strengthen the ties between the two families, and hopefully at the same time end the usage of the dreaded seal on the branch members of the Hyuga clan as his wife wished. The death of both Kushina and Minato had seemed to put an end to that plan, however her recent return brought back a sliver of hope. Add to that the soon-to-be-revealed fact that Naruto was Minato's son gave Hayashi hope that this plan would work after all. Hinata, please just be yourself, that's all you need to do, and I'll take care of the rest, he thought to himself before addressing his daughters. Hinata, Hanabi, we will be having guests for dinner. I will also be addressing the entire clan on a matter of the utmost importance. I expect you to both be on your best behavior, do not disgrace yourselves or me, am I understood? He told them both. Hi, father, they both replied. The look of pain on Hinata's face was masked, but Hayashi could see that she thought he was disappointed in her. That nearly made him break the facade and confess the truth to her, but he remained impassive. The door opened to the dining hall, admitting the elders. After they had taken their seats, they looked confused at the two empty seats between Hayashi and his daughters. They took this to mean that the guests were from a powerful clan. As such, they were given places of honor near the head. All speaking came to a halt when the door opened and the visitors were announced. Uzumaki clan head and clan heir Naruto Uzumaki arriving, the guard announced. Why would he allow the demon brat into this compound? He has no clan. What is Hayashi playing at? Hyuga thought to himself. Now it begins, Hayashi thought to himself as he could see the elders were about to riot at the announcement. He decided to head this off at the pass and make his own announcement. Silence, before you begin to ask. Yes, I invited Naruto here, and yes, he is the heir to the Uzumaki clan of Whirlpool. The clan head herself confirmed this in the council meeting earlier today, and should any of you think to insult her or her son, she will kill you where you stand. Neither the guards nor myself will make any move to stop her. Smiling at the elders' reactions, he decided to end the suspense as he watched the Uzumakis enter the room. Allow me to welcome you both, Naruto and Kushina Uzumaki. Please come in and take your seats. Kushina, I believe you'll be sitting next to Hanabi, and Naruto, please have a seat next to Hinata. Kushina smiled as she watched recognition dawn upon the elders' faces as they recognized her. Many of them she saw looked on in fury as they saw Naruto sat where he was instructed, but to her amusement both Hanabi and Hinata were happy to see her son. During the trip back from Waves she had learned of his friendship with both girls, even if he didn't quite understand Hinata's reactions around him. He's just as clueless about it as I was, poor kid. Seems there are a few things that removing the seals didn't fix. Growing up alone really did a number on him, but it's time to fix that. If we're lucky, the sheer shock might take a few of these overzealous bastards to the grave, especially once the truth of Naruto's father is revealed. Add to that the little surprise I have to reveal. Well, it's worth a shot, she thought to herself. Hayashi, thank you for your generous invitation to my family. Kushina, it is my pleasure. I'm hoping you can regale me with the tale of how you returned to us, Hayashi, as he pulled the chair out for her. Hinata watched as her crush took his place next to her, and was surprised to see he was wearing a formal black kimono with orange dragons decorating it. You look nice and Naruto-kun, she managed to say. Naruto turned and smiled at her, the sight of which made her face heat up. Thank you, Hinata-chan. I kind of had to get this in a hurry. I didn't have anything like this before Mom got back. I was told if I wore my usual clothes she'd beat the tar out of me. Are mothers supposed to be this scary? He asked her quietly. Kushina heard his question, and decided to answer for Hinata, only the good ones. Naruto's sweat dropped when he realized she had heard him. Sorry Mom, he said sheepishly. It looks good on you, Naruto-kun, Hinata told him shyly. Not as good as your dress looks on you, Hinata-chan. You look very pretty this evening, Naruto told her. Hinata had trouble catching her breath and her face turned bright red, and she just barely managed to avoid fainting. The sight of this caused no end of amusement for both Kushina and Hayashi, a bit of confusion for Naruto, and a great deal of anger from the elders. Thank you, Naruto-kun, she replied. This is too good to be true. He thinks I'm pretty. What do I say? I can't keep being so shy around him, or I'll never get anything said, Hinata thought to herself as she tried to think of a way to get a conversation going with her crush. Naruto-kun, is this really your mother? I thought you were an orphan, she finally asked. Naruto looked at her thoughtfully, then looked at his mother, who simply motioned for him to answer her before he finally did. That's what I thought too. Turns out she's really my mom. Not only that, I have a whole clan of relatives that I never knew. I've only got a few of the details, but the night I was born she was nearly killed. But our family is a bunch seal masters that were able to not only keep her alive, but fully heal her. During my team's mission to Wave she found me, and helped us defeat an A-rank missing Nin, his apprentice, and an entire gang that had control of the country. Since then she's been training me and helping me get a lot stronger than I used to be. Even Sasuke team is no challenge for me. I don't think there is a genin that is. Naruto looked confident as he told Hinata this, and she could tell he was different from how he used to be. Somehow he was stronger, more sure of himself. Stronger than the Uchiha heir? I highly doubt that, Kono scoffed. Thinking you can beat any genin is highly presumptuous of you brats, seeing as you were the dead last of you class from what I hear. I doubt half of what you've said is true. Kushina bristled at his words before she responded. Really? As I recall, you've doubted an Uzumaki before Kono. Do you need a reminder of what happened the last time you stepped out of line? Kono looked pale before she continued. As for dead last, it's not hard when to be called that when your instructors sabotage you at every turn, training you wrong, place genjutsu on every test, and do everything they can to make you fail. That matter is being corrected soon by the Hokage. As for how strong my son is, would you care to test him? Kono looked for a moment at both Uzumaki's confident faces before responding. I don't believe that this meal is the place to do so, but since you have placed the challenge, how about we test him 1 week from today? I believe young Niji should be back from his escort mission by then. What that weakling Hinata sees in you, I'll never understand. I accept. Bring on your clan's best and I'll beat him. And if you talk about one of my friends like that again, I'll beat you to a pulp, Naruto said confidently. He knew who Niji was, the proclaimed genius of the Hyuga clan, but he was certain he could beat him. His mother and Hinata both smiled at his confidence, and Hayashi felt it was the best time to drop the first of his surprises on the elders and his daughter. Well, Kushina, It seems your son is eager to prove himself worthy after all, Hayashi said with a smile. Kushina matched his and decided to add. Indeed, who'd have thought they'd take to each other so well, and they never even knew. Knew what, Mom? And why don't I like the way you're looking at me? Naruto asked nervously. Why, that you two are betrothed, Kushina told him. The looks of shock on the faces of the children were beaten by the looks of rage on the faces of the elders. Impossible, there's no way we would allow this. She cannot be betrothed to the demon, one shouted before a chakra chain decapitated him. You dare call my son that? Kushina shouted. The remaining elders cowered in fear as she slowly advanced on them. My son has spent the last 13 years of his life protecting you ungrateful bastards from the true demon. You call him a monster, a demon, and treat him as though he was trash. You stupid bastards can't see the difference between the kunai and the scroll that holds it. You're lucky I don't kill you all where you stand, she finally shouted before a single voice stopped her. Enough, Kasan, I think they've got the hint. Hinata-chan, Hanabi-chan, Hayashi-sama, I think it's time I left, Naruto said as he got up to leave. Wait, Hinata pleaded as she grabbed his arm. Please don't go. I don't know why they call you that, but my sister and I have never seen you as a monster. Hanabi nodded her head in agreement with her older sister. Naruto smiled sadly at them, and was prepared to leave anyways before Hayashi grabbed his shoulder. Naruto-san, allow me to apologize for the stupidity of the elders. Hinata, Hanabi, you have both ignored the bias the elders have for this boy and have judged him by his character. In doing so you have proven yourselves to be better than the fools that seek to judge both him and you. I had planned to wait a little longer, but the actions of these old fools has made me decide that I've waited long enough. Guards, please summon the entire clan to the dining hall. Kushina waited silently as she walked over to her son. The guards complied and 10 minutes later the remainder of the clan had arrived. Once all were seated, Hayashi addressed the clan. By order of the Hokage, 2 village secrets are to be revealed by the clan heads and civilian counselors to their families today. The first is that the Kyuubi no Yoko is not dead, but was sealed within a baby during its attack on the village 13 years ago. That baby was Naruto Uzumaki. For the last 13 years he has contained and prevented the Kyuubi from returning to destroy this village. For the last 13 years he has been its silent protector and hero. For that I, Hayashi Hyuga, both thank you for your actions, and apologize for ours. The entire Hyuga clan looked on in shock as Hayashi bowed before Naruto, who stood there in shock at the clan head's actions. Please don't, it's fine, Hayashi-sama, Naruto stammered, unsure of how to respond. Hayashi nodded to him, and then addressed the clan once more. As you heard, there are 2 village secrets to be revealed. The first was Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki, the second is his parentage. Before you stands his mother Kushina Uzumaki of Yuzushiogakure, but her full name by marriage is Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, which means he is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze Yondaime Hokage. Our village's greatest hero, on the night of the attack, sealed his foe into his own son to protect this village. We thought both parents had been lost, but with Kushina's return we can reveal the truth. I also am announcing the contracted marriage between the son of the Yondaime Hokage and my eldest daughter Hinata Hyuga, joining our clan with the family of this village's greatest hero, Hayashi told the stunned crowd, which slowly began to cheer. Kono couldn't believe what was happening. His clan was cheering for the demon brat, and the clan head was giving the demon the clan heir. He had to stop this, and then it came to him. Wait, he shouted, causing the crowd to fall silent. The boy has yet to prove himself worthy of our clan's heir. You said so yourself, Hayashi-sama, he said smugly. He has boasted that he can beat any genin in this village and challenged our greatest genius to a duel. Should he succeed, then he can be found worthy. But should he fail, this proposal fails forever, and she will be placed in the branch family where a failure like her belongs. Unless he would care to back down now, rather face his fated defeat. Naruto was still stunned at the proposed marriage between him and Hinata, but hearing the smug bastard of an elder, he decided to face the challenge. I said before, elder, I would beat your best, and I will. For her sake and mine, I'll prove my worth. Well said, Naruto, Hayashi told him. The look on Kushina's face was mixed with both pride at her son and anger at Kono's actions. In 1 week, a match between Neji Hyuga and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze will take place. Hayashi leaned over to Kushina and asked, can he do it? Neji is as good as, if not better than, my brother and I were at his age, and knowing Kono, he'll pull out all the stops to get him ready. Have some faith, Hayashi. I wouldn't let him do it if he couldn't succeed, but since you asked Naruto, you can show Hinata what you wanted to. Use the pillar, she told her son. Sorry in advance, she told Hayashi. That's right, thanks mom. Hinata, come here, I've got to show you this. It's a move my parents made, he told Hinata as he dragged her over to the center pillar of the room. Everyone stand back, Rasengan, he shouted before holding his hand out in front of him. The crowd stood in awe as a glowing blue ball appeared in his hand and was thrust forward into the pillar, shattering it. The elders stood in shock as they watched a 13-year-old use the Yondaime Hokage's signature move. I'll win that duel, Hinata-chan, and keep you safe. That's a promise, he told her before she interrupted him. And you never break your promises. I know you can do it, Naruto-kun, she said without stuttering, much to the delight of her father and the dismay of the elders. Son, let's head home. Hayashi will see you in a week. Keep my future daughter-in-law safe or else whoever harms her answers to me, she told Hayashi loud enough for all to hear. Hayashi nodded as he hugged his daughters and watched the Uzumakis leave. Is this a dream, father? Hinata asked. No, my dear, it's something your mother and I planned long ago, and had to keep hidden after her death. Now though I think it's time to drop the masks, come with me girls, we need to talk, he told them as they walked inside. The truth of the elders' actions and the lengths Hayashi had gone to protect them both stunned both girls, but by the end of the night they knew two things. First, the way the clan had been was going to change for good, and more importantly second, their father truly loved them both. Namake's mansion 8 hours later. Kushina and Naruto had gone home and settled in. Haku was given a room of her own, and Naruto's possessions had been moved via clones while they were at dinner. After a long discussion regarding the engagement to Hinata, Naruto and Kushina had finally called it a night. Kushina was learning that Danzo had not been lying when he said his memories would give her nightmares. She woke up startled from one such dream, and thought to herself, that monster, it can't be true, if it is this changes everything. But I need proof and I know where to find it. Kushina dressed quickly and went to Danzo's old complex. As she arrived in his office, she found the hidden latch that opened the file room where he had hidden his meticulously kept records of Root's activities. She quickly found the files marked Operation Setting Sun and Project Revival. Taking those records, she resecured the records room and went to wake up the old man. Kushina was surprised to find the Hokage was awake and at the tower when she arrived. More surprised was the jonin he had been speaking to when she barged in. Old man, we need to, she started before the black-haired female stopped her. Hey, wait just a second, who the hell are you, and what the hell are you doing here? Anko demanded before she heard the Hokage laughing. What's so damned funny, she shouted before the Hokage answered. What's so funny, Anko, is that you are about 2 seconds from being beaten to death by one of your idols, Hiruzen told the special jonin. What do you mean? Anko asked. What he means is that if you don't shut your trap, I'll shut it for you and make sure it's wired that way, Kushina threatened. If you think you can bring it, you red-headed bitch, Anko snarled, moving towards the offended Kushina. Both women jumped back when the Hokage slammed his fist on his desk. That's enough, both of you, he shouted, making Anko look away angrily. Hiruzen looked at her and decided to introduce the two before things got out of hand. Anko Mitarashi, meet Kushina Uzumaki. Anko stared at Kushina for a minute in shock, before Kushina had enough. What's with the staring, kid? You look like you've seen a ghost, she asked Anko. But it's not, I mean you're supposed to be dead, Anko replied. What I'm supposed to be is talking to the old man about a matter of importance, she told Anko as she threw the 2 files on the Hokage's desk. Danzo was a bigger piece of shit than we thought, she told him. Hiruzen looked over the files as Anko regained her voice. Are you really here? This isn't a dream? What the hell's that supposed to mean? Of course I'm real. What's your deal, brat? Kushina asked Anko. I can't believe it, I mean I always dreamed, but to actually meet the redhead habanero in the flesh, the undisputed prank queen of Konoha, I'm your biggest fan, teach me, master. Anko finally shouted, glomping Kushina. The Hokage's sweat dropped behind his desk. What have I done? At the same time, most of the citizens, both civilian and ninja, felt a sudden shiver of fear and all thought the same thing, something wicked this way comes. I like this girl, old man, can I keep her? Kushina asked. Let's save that conversation for a later date, but it's actually a good thing you're here. Anko, you're looking at the reason you have a new job, he told both women cryptically. Kushina caught on first, so you're gonna have her run it? What's her background? Kushina asked while giving Anko an appraising look. Second in command of the T&I unit, former apprentice of Orochimaru, special jonin rank, he told Kushina before Anko butted in. Don't forget all-around sadistic bitch and bane to all perverts, she added with a grin. I'll say it again, I like her, Kushina said with a grin. Somewhere in T country. Jiraiya suddenly sat up at the bar, shivering in fear. I don't know why, but I have the sudden urge to run as far from Konoha as I possibly can and hide in a dark cave. The last time I felt like this was when Tsunade and Kushina were together, but that's impossible, one is dead and the other left a long time ago. Oh well, it's probably nothing. If only he knew, then he'd realize that even if he did run and hide in a cave, he was royally screwed. Konoha Hokage Tower. What have I unleashed? Hiruzen thought to himself. Anyway, Kushina, if this is true, the two of you have your work cut out for you, and I need to send a message to draw him back here. It's time for the shadows to be revealed. I trust you plan to talk to the boy? He asked Kushina. Yeah, but you might want to look at the second folder. If it's true, we've got to find it fast. It could be what we need to bring them both the closure they need, Kushina responded. Go talk to him, he's at home. I'll brief the new head of Root, he told her. What's going on? Anko asked, confused. You tell her I'm gone. Meet me at the Root Command Center in an hour. I'll be bringing a guest, Kushina told Anko as she left the room and headed to the Uchiha compound. What's going on? Anko asked as the Hokage handed her the folders. It's too bad she got to him first, she said as she read the files, 'cause I'd love to have done it myself. I'm sure you would, but her claim came first. Let's get down there and get you started. Today is going to be a long day, he told the new leader of Root as they left the building. Uchiha compound 15 minutes later. Sasuke woke up in a cold sweat from yet another nightmare about the massacre. Bad dream? Came a soft voice surprising him. Sasuke leapt out of bed in a defensive crouch. Who are you, and how'd you get in here? No one should be able to enter this compound without me knowing it, he demanded. As the owner of the voice came into view, he recognized Kushina. What do you want? Haven't you done enough to ruin my life? He asked. I'd say you've done plenty to cause your own problems, you spoiled brat, Kushina told him. I had hoped that some of the arrogance had been knocked out of you by now, but I guess I need to give you another lesson, she said as she cracked her knuckles. I have never seen a more spoiled, petulant brat in my life. You are a rotten, sorry little bastard that needs to be knocked down a few pegs. You think you're so much better than everyone else that you can't see that you are headed down a self-destructive path. Good God, your father would be proud of you. How your mother and brother put up with him, I'll never know. Shut the hell up, what would you know about my family? Sasuke shouted. Kushina pulled out a picture and tossed it to him. Sasuke picked it up and saw 6 people. How, when was this taken, and why are you in it? He asked. It was taken a month after you were born, before I had Naruto. As for why I'm in it, she was one of my best friends, and my former teammate. We grew up together. Hell, I changed both yours and your brother's diapers. If the attack had never happened, you'd have seen me a lot, Kushina told him quietly. Why, I'm an Uchiha, why would I have seen you? Sasuke asked, trying to sound cool, but instead sounding lost. Because the day you were born I was named your godmother, Kushina said as she walked over to him and picked up the picture he dropped. Now, however, there's something we need to talk about. The night of the massacre, I need to know what you remember. Why should I tell you? He asked. Don't ask why, just answer the damned question, Kushina shouted, causing Sasuke to flinch back in fear. Fine, I had been out training all day. When I came home I found my father lying dead on the floor, and my mother was hanging off the blade of my older brother. He shoved her off and told me if I wanted to kill him I'd have to learn to hate. That's the only way I can beat him. That's the only thing I can do to kill him. It's what I have to do to kill him and avenge my family. Sasuke shouted at Kushina, starting to cry in anger. Damn, did they fuck your head up, Kushina said sadly. Tell you what would you do if I told you everything you knew was a lie, and that you have been lied to since that night by your own memories? What the hell are you babbling about? How can my memories lie to me? Sasuke asked, confused. I mean that the truth is between your father and a former Root agent named Fuyamanka. Your memories have been altered, she told him. That's that SA lie, stop lying to me, he shouted back. Oh, shut up, you little bastard, and listen, she shouted back. Look, I know it's hard to believe, but the truth is between Danzo, Fugaku, and you've been living a lie and I can prove it, Kushina explained. If you want to know the truth, I can show you. What do you mean, how can you show me? Was the quiet reply. How can she talk to me like this? And why do I get the impression that arguing with her is a very bad idea? Like this, she said as she pulled out a slip of paper and placed it on his forehead. Uzumaki Sealing Arts, Mindscape Merger. Kushina looked around her to take inner surroundings and saw that she was in the Uchiha compound, near Makoto's old home. Bodies lay all around, mothers holding children, husbands holding wives, all dead. Even in his own mind he can't escape this day. Kami, he's almost had it as bad as Naruto and me. Sasuke, this is gonna hurt you more than me. But if you are going to recover, I have to show you the truth, she thought to herself. As she walked towards her teammate's old home, she found Sasuke crying over the bodies of his parents. Only this Sasuke was only 8 years old. Is this how he truly sees himself, even in his own mind? Kushina thought to herself before she approached him. Sasuke, is this what you see every time you close your eyes? Every night I see this place. I can't escape it, even in my dreams it haunts me. I can't have peace unless I kill him, the child Sasuke told her. And after you kill him, what then? She asked in return. Then I can move on, then I can live my life instead of the one he chose for me, came the sad reply. Revenge isn't the only way, you know, Kushina said as she placed a hand on his shoulder. Surprisingly, he knocked her hand away and turned to face her. Her shock registered when she saw not the single tomo of an activated Sharingan, but the pinwheel pattern of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Oh, you bastard, a double genjutsu? On your own son. One to hide the truth of that night, and the other to control him from his dreams. Wait, only one is from, but that means 2 can play at that game, Danzo. It's the only way, Sasuke shouted at her before he was blown back by an invisible force. But how? This is my mind, I should be in control here. Sasuke grew more confused as he saw Kushina gather chakra in her fingers before disappearing. When she reappeared in front of his, he tried to step back, only to find he was against a wall. I hope this works, Kushina thought to herself as she stabbed the blade of chakra into the child Sasuke and stepped back as he fell. To her delight, the body child in front of her changed into the 13-year-old body of the Sasuke she knew. Sasuke looked up at her, and she saw that his Sharingan was back to normal. Now we see how well it worked, and if he's ready to learn the truth. How's your head? No more demands that you avenge your father's death? What did you do to me? Why are you here? How did you know? Came the confused questions. I don't understand. To answer your questions in order, I injected you with some of my chakra to break the genjutsu that you were under. I'm here to show you the revenge you've been questing after is pointless and wrong, and I know what you were going through because I have the memories of the sorry bastard who put your subconscious under a powerful genjutsu. Kushina calmly replied. What would you know about my need for revenge, and when did you gain Itachi's memories? Sasuke asked her, unsure of how to confront what she had said. The mindscape changed to a battlefield that he couldn't recognize. In it he saw shinobi wearing the symbols of Kumo, IWA, and aimed fighting and killing others wearing a spiral on their forehead protectors. Together they watched as one by one the defenders fell and the city was sacked, but not before killing over 80% of the attackers. A Pyrrhic victory if there ever was one. What you are seeing are the memories of what I thought were the few survivors of Uzushiogakure. The red-haired warriors are members of my clan, my family, the Uzumaki clan. The attack on my home started the Third Ninja World War. When I gained these memories I was lost in a rage. I wanted to kill everyone responsible for the loss of my home and family. I did it too. I killed every one of the people who survived that battle that I could find until this happened. The mindscape changed again and showed Kushina in full gear breaking down the door of a home outside IWA. Flashback. A man stood in front of her, arms wide, trying to protect his wife. Kushina raised her blade and in a cold voice asked him, "Why should I spare your wife when you helped slaughter my entire family, my entire village?" She advanced on the couple only to have a 6-year-old girl jump in front of her, landing on her knees crying, "Please, please don't kill my family, they're all I have." The image of Kushina held her blade as the little girl ran to her father and tried to cover him. Kushina looked at the family, unsure what to do, as a man in black A and BU style armor with yellow hair appeared out of nowhere. Sasuke was startled to recognize Minato Namikaze. This must be before he became Hokage, he thought to himself. Wait, does that mean that he's a dope? It can't be that. The fourth is I need to learn more. Kushina-chan, stop please, it's enough, this won't bring them back, he told Kushina as she resealed her blade and leaned against him sobbing. I know it won't, she told the Minato. What finally stopped you? Minato asked her as he looked at the family before them. I realized that if I did this to the little girl's family then I'd become as bad if not worse than those I hate. I couldn't let her suffer what I went through just to have my revenge. I finally realized what you've been trying to tell me, Mino-kun, Kushina explained sadly. The man she had been hunting spoke up, for what it's worth, thank you. I fought with my father over the decision to attack Yuzu, but was ignored. I never wanted this war or to fight in that battle, but if I hadn't, my family's lives would have been forfeit. I would do anything to protect them. Your father? Minato asked. Anoki of the Scales Tsutsuki, the man responded. Kitsuchi, I thought you looked familiar. I never forget a memorable opponent, Minato said with a slight grin. And you Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. These two are Konoha's Yellow Flash and Crimson Death, Kitsuchi explained to his family. The little girl looked at her father, then the pair that he had addressed. I thought the Crimson Death was a boy. Everyone says no girl can be that strong, she said to her father. Shows what they know, Kuratsuchi. You are looking at probably the second strongest kunoichi in the elemental nations. Second only to Tsunade of the Sannin herself, Kitsuchi explained to his daughter, while Kushina stifled a laugh. It's no surprise that I'd be that strong. After all, Tsunade was my Jonin sensei, Kushina informed Kuratsuchi. So you're not gonna kill my daddy? Kuratsuchi asked Kushina. No, little one, and we have you to thank for stopping me, Kushina said as she bowed to the little girl. I'm in your debt for breaking me out of my need for revenge. Kitsuchi looked on in shock as Kushina bowed to his daughter. Truly we were fools for starting this war, for what it's worth. I wish we could have met as friends instead of foes, he told the Konoha nin. So do I. While I may still hurt from what your father cost me, I can't help but hope your daughter's generation can end the hatred our villages have for each other. Train her well, Kushina answered. She smiled at Kuratsuchi. I'll make you a deal, little one. Should our villages find peace between them, then I'll take it upon myself to help train you. Would you like that? Kuratsuchi could only nod. Then it's a promise. Help your father bring peace, and I'll train you. Kitsuchi looked at Kushina. You think it's possible? It's better than us all fighting to the death. Besides, it gives her a goal, Minato answered with a grin before both he and Kushina disappeared in a flash of yellow light. Flashback end. But how could you forgive him? I don't understand. Kushina looked at him for a moment before she explained. It wasn't easy. First I had Minato there to help me. He tried to explain that revenge only leads to more sorrow. He asked me what I'd do after I killed those I hunted, and would that end the cycle of violence? I never fully understood until I met that little girl. It was then that I realized that if I killed her father, I'd only prolong the suffering. But how was it so easy for you to believe his story about being against the war? It could have been a lie to save himself for all you knew, Sasuke asked her. Kushina laughed for a moment, and noticing his confused look answered him, that part was easier than you think. We had spies in IWA that reported a high-ranking member of their shinobi council was outspoken in protest of the attack, and as punishment was forced to be on the front lines of the battle for Yuzu. Kitsuchi's story matched up, and I can tell when I'm being lied to. Learning the truth behind his actions made it easier to forgive. Okay, I'll bite. You say there's more to the night that my clan was killed than what I know, so let's hear it, Sasuke said calmly. He grinned as he saw she was a little surprised at his reaction. Kushina honestly thought it would be harder to get it through his thick skull. Don't look so shocked. I was Rookie of the Year, and just because I act like an ass doesn't stop me from paying more attention than people think. Deception is a ninja's best weapon, isn't it? He asked Kushina with a slight grin. Touché brat, I'll give you that one. Easier to think clearly now that the genjutsu is gone, isn't it? Oh, and to answer your earlier question, I don't have Itachi-chan's memories. He wasn't the one who cast its Tsukimi on you. Are you sure you're ready to know? It'll change everything for you, Kushina asked him. Just get on with it already. I know you plan to do it anyways, Sasuke told her. You're right, I did plan to show you anyways, but I thought you might like to be asked first, Kushina laughed as she told the truth. Brat's sharp, I'll give him that. Might be hope for him yet. Sasuke gave her a rare full smile. Thanks, guess having you as a godmother won't be all that bad. Even if I have to put up with the dope. I do have to ask, how are you able to change what I see in my mind? Easy, the seal I placed on you allows me to see in your mind, and show you parts of mine. That's why I know what you do, and because I control the seal, I can choose what you see out of my mind. Think a remote control. Anyways, I guess it's time you learned the truth of the Uchiha massacre courtesy of Danzo Shimura, Kushina explained. Sasuke's jaw dropped as he registered the name of his biggest supporter. Why would he know what happened? He wasn't there at all, Sasuke asked as he grabbed Kushina's arm. Watch and learn, Kushina said as the mindscape changed again to the day of the massacre. Flashback. So it's true then? That old bastard has finally decided to act, Fugaku Uchiha asked Danzo. Yes, my spies confirmed that he is going to use Itachi to deal with all those involved in the rebellion, Danzo confirmed. It's too soon, we're not ready to take down the Hokage yet, especially if Itachi is joining him. So that's why you killed Shursui, he asked his ally. Yes, dealing with Itachi is going to be bad enough, but if we had to deal with the teleporter as well, it'd be almost impossible. Worse for you, the plan they've devised is to evacuate those that oppose the rebellion, and the children before they strike, Danzo explained to Fugaku. Danzo watched the Uchiha clan head's face contort with anger and smiled as he knew what the man's response to this betrayal would be. Kill them, every last one of them, Fugaku said coldly. Those that oppose us are unworthy of the name Uchiha. Already being done, my agents and some of your group are waiting for them at the rally point. None will survive, and blame will fall on Itachi, Danzo said watching Fugaku's smile. The fool doesn't even realize he's playing right into my hands, both men thought to themselves. Why, Tusen, why would you do this? Came a quiet voice. Both men looked at the door to the office and found an 8-year-old boy staring at them. You've heard more than you should have, brat. Fu, Danzo said, signaling his personal yarmulke to subdue the child. Fu grabbed Sasuke and knocked him unconscious. Wipe his memories for the last hour and then leave us, Danzo commanded. That little bastard, Fugaku hissed. Why not kill him? Because if we are going to blame Itachi, we need a witness, Danzo explained his plan. I see where you're going with this, Fugaku said with a sadistic smile. I guess it's time he was introduced to the Tsukimi. Both men waited until Sasuke started to wake up. As soon as he looked at them, he was trapped in the Tsukimi by Fugaku, who had hinged into Itachi. Unseen by Fugaku, Danzo had also revealed a Sharingan eye, and was using it to place a command to avenge Fugaku and Makoto's death. This he knew would allow him to manipulate the boy further into his tool. He sensed two people approaching and shunshined out of the room. What are you doing to my brother/son? Itachi and Makoto demanded as they entered the room at a run. Itachi was covered in wounds, while Makoto was out of breath from trying to find her youngest son. Fugaku, you bastard, let go of my son, Makoto shouted at her husband. So you'd betray me too, no matter. By the time this night is over, both of you will be dead, and I will disappear. By the time that old fool figures out what happened, it'll be too late. The entire village will blame you, Itachi, and Sarutobi's pride will never let him admit the truth that I was responsible. If he tries, my ally will stop him, Fugaku sneered. I never thought you'd stoop so low as to make a deal with Danzo, Itachi told his father, as he readied himself for battle. Itachi leapt at his father in an attempt to cover his mother's attempt to reach Sasuke. By the time they realized that the Fugaku Itachi was attacking was an illusion, it was too late. Makoto found herself run through by her husband's blade. "No!" Itachi shouted as he watched his mother fall. He felt a burning rage within him urgently seeking release. Makoto knew she was dying, she knew that her loss would enrage her oldest son, and could sense what was happening to him. Smiling sadly, she looked over at Itachi and mouthed 3 words, "Protect your brother." Looking at her maniacally grinning husband, she gathered what strength she had and grabbed hold of his arms. Lightning release, paralyzing hold. Fugaku could only look down in shock at the woman who was going to literally be the death of him. "You should never have harmed my son," she snarled before they both heard Itachi. Amaterasu. Makoto lost her grip as she fell onto Sasuke's unmoving body, while Fugaku's mouth was opened in a silent scream. The black flames quickly devoured him whole, leaving nothing but ashes before Itachi released them. He rushed to his mother's side and saw she was gravely wounded. "Hold on, we'll get you help," he told her. "Too late for that. When he's ready, give him the scroll." "But only if he's ready," she whispered before she fell limp. Itachi looked at his mother, tears forming on his face before he heard a slow clapping sound behind him. "So you managed to awaken the use of Amaterasu. I must say I'm impressed," Danzo told Itachi with a grin as Itachi glared at him. "Don't bother trying to use it on me, or your little brother dies," he told the Uchiha Anbu. Why would you do this?" Itachi asked him. "Power. If you had waited a little while longer, then I would have used your clan to gain control of Konoha. Instead you had to butt in and ruin my plans. As a gift I've decided to let you take the blame for the slaughter of the Uchiha. You will take the blame, and you will abandon this village or your brother dies," Danzo explained coldly. He wanted the Itachi gone as an obstacle to his plans. "Agreed on 2 conditions," Itachi said. "Who are you to name conditions?" Danzo asked him. "The one that can fully expose root its hidden bases and your activities abroad to both the Hokage who suspects, and the other hidden villagers who you've wronged," he said with a small smile. Danzo frowned, realizing the damage Itachi could do with what he knew. "What are your conditions?" "One, you leave my brother alone, help him survive, but if you ever try to put him in root I'll know," Itachi said. "Agreed," Danzo answered quickly, as he had no intention of doing that to Sasuke. He had other plans for the young Uchiha that Itachi would rue. That was too easy. He must have another plan for my brother. Time to throw a wrench in his other plan, Itachi thought to himself. "Your second condition?" Danzo asked, wanting to end this conversation. "Abandon all attempts to make a weapon out of Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze," Itachi said with an evil smile which only got larger as Danzo's face contorted with rage. "Should Naruto disappear or show any sign of being indoctrinated by your group, I'll expose everything, including the seals you placed on him." Danzo was white with fury. How could he know they were hidden to where Sarutobi couldn't even find them? Itachi saw his reaction as he mused. "So it's true, the Hokage suspected but couldn't prove. Guess I'd better make this convincing." "You forget who introduced me to Fuinjutsu Kushina Uzumaki," he told Danzo, not quite lying and not quite telling the truth. "Agreed. Should you betray me I'll kill both," Danzo told him, furious at how his plans were being stopped before he could begin them. "At least he doesn't know what I've placed on his brother. By the time he figures it out, it'll be too late," Danzo thought to himself as Itachi disappeared. A low moan, barely a whisper, caught his attention before he could leave, and drew him back to the body of Makoto. "Interesting, she's not likely to live, but I could still harvest from her," Danzo thought as he signaled Torian and Foot to collect Makoto and transport her to the base before leaving Sasuke laying alone in the blood-filled home. Flashback end. Sasuke looked at Kushina in shock, then his look changed to anger. "I'll kill him, that lying conniving bastard. I'll make him beg for death before I expose him to the village as the monster he is," he told the waiting Kushina. "Too late," she replied. "What do you mean?" Sasuke asked. "How do you think I have his memories? He harmed my son, and both of my godsons. His life was forfeit as soon as I found what he'd done." Kushina gave a grim smile as the mindscape replayed the council meeting. Sasuke started when he saw the modifications that Danzo had placed on his body, then grimaced at the manner of his execution. "I got to him first," Kushina told him as she wrapped him in a hug. "I guess if it couldn't be me that got that bastard, you'll work too," he told her. "So where do we go from here? My brother is gone and thinks that I plan to kill him. My mother gave her life to save me, and my whole life has been a lie," he asked Kushina. "Well, for starters, let's get out of here," Kushina said as she cancelled the seal. Both woke in the Uchiha compound. Sasuke looked at Kushina and for the first time since he was with his mother walked up and gave someone a hug. "No matter what else happens, thank you for giving me my life back," he told her, crying. Kushina returned the hug and laughed as he continued, "Don't think this means I'll take it easy on the dobe. He's still my rival after all, but I will treat him with the respect he deserves. Even the harpy too if she straightens out. You know she's hung on you, right, and Naruto wouldn't have the team treat him any other way, Kushina told Sasuke. Yeah, I know, but that voice make you a deal. She stops yelling and takes her training seriously, and I'll at least acknowledge her, and only he gets to call me team, Sasuke told her in reply, grinning. Fine just means I call you Gaki, but don't get comfortable, there's a bit more for you to see today. With luck I may have a gift for you, Kushina told him cryptically. What do you mean? Hey, wait up, he shouted at Kushina as she headed out the door. Keep up, Gaki, she yelled back as he hurried to catch her. Root underwater base. Kushina and Sasuke entered the main hall of the root base beneath the Uchiha Lake, soaking wet, Sasuke looking worse for the wear. They found the Hokage and Anko going through the root roster along with a pale young man. There were 10 bodies around the chamber, all dead. About time you got here, Red, you missed the party, Anko shouted. I knew you could handle his diehards, how'd the rest of them take his death? Kushina asked. Hard, never knew how big of a pain those loyalty seals were on people when they disappear. Hell, as soon as we entered those guys went berserk. Good thing they don't feel pain, or the vipers I used to kill them might have been noticed, Anko explained. The rest seemed to have accepted the change of command though. Turns out young Sai here was training to be old cripple ass's replacement, so he knew where the hidden files were, Anko told Kushina as she gave the young man a hug. The Hokage looked up at Kushina then Sasuke before he decided to address the elephant in the room. So you've learned and accepted the truth then? That my brother wasn't responsible for the massacre, yes. What was the real plan that you had, Hokage-sama? Sasuke asked respectfully. Anko looked up in shock at his respectful attitude, then at Kushina, who merely grinned. Hiruzen looked at him for a moment, and thought to himself, if only we could get Itachi back, he'd find his little brother is home. Your brother was to evacuate you, Makoto, and the innocent out of the compound along with Shirosue. After that, you would deal with the traitors. I always suspected Danzo's involvement in the slaughter, but all evidence the council was given pointed to Itachi. By the time I learned Fugaku and Danzo had their men ambush the evacuees, it was too late. Everyone was blaming your brother. I'm truly sorry, Itachi is one of this village's greatest heroes. Sasuke nodded at the explanation and then asked, do you know where he is? If I can contact him and tell him I know the truth? I do, and alas you cannot, at least not yet. After he left, he joined a group named Akatsuki, and has been feeding us information. I cannot tell you any more as it is an SS-ranked mission and secret. I promise you this though, if we can get the message to him, come here, I'll let you tell him yourself, he told the somber Sasuke. Both were interrupted by a shout from Anko, who was holding a large folder. Here it is, Red, catch. Kushina caught the folder, opened it, and a large smile crossed her face. So any idea where it is? Anko asked. That bastard's memories come in handy after all. Follow me, Kushina confirmed as she took off for the lowest levels. 15 minutes later they came to a large steel door covered in seals designed to prevent unwanted entry. Sai took a look at the measures placed and then shook his head sadly. I cannot unlock these seals, he told Anko. I never even knew this room was here. There are many secrets Danzo team kept from me, Anko-sama. Anko grinned at his words, then patted him on the head. Course not, never expected you could, Saikuin. Watch and learn. Kushina looked at Anko. You work fast, don't you? Not hard once that bastard seals were broken, Anko replied with a grin. Gives me a great template to work with. Orochimaru looked up from his paperwork in Oto with a shiver. For some reason I think I'm going to regret treating my former apprentice the way I did. Kushina grinned and walked up to the seals. Half an hour later the last barrier was removed and the door popped open. Kushina was the first to enter, verifying that there were no hidden traps. She motioned the rest in. Sasuke looked around to see several bodies attached to chakra batteries. Each battery was attached to a large cable that ran to a solid metal container. Anko looked at the device in anger as she recognized it. Where the hell did that bastard get a suspended animation chamber? She asked in anger. Kushina answered her quietly, your old master Orochimaru. Sasuke heard the conversation and decided to ask, but why would he need all this? Who would he need to go through all this trouble to keep alive? Kushina gave him a smile. That was the right question, but let me ask you this. What's the one way Danzo could ensure your brother would never betray him should you die? No, you mean she's, Sasuke said as the answer came to him, but how? Yes, Sasuke Makoto, your mother is alive, Kushina said with a grin. Danzo took her with him after he found her breathing. He managed to stabilize her, and then placed her in suspended animation. His plan was to use her to repopulate the Uchiha clan via her when he took over the village. Unfortunately she's in a coma, but I think we can get her healed if Tsunade can be convinced to come back. So this means, Sasuke started, hardly daring to believe it. Yes, it means you're not alone, the Hokage answered. Kushina, you've done this village a great service, and Jiraiya was sent a message to get Tsunade here as soon as I found the prophecy scroll. They'll be here in a week. Thank you, old man, that will help a lot, Kushina told the Hokage with a smile. Anko, have your agents get Makoto to the ANBU hospital unseen, and inform them this is an S-rank secret. Punishable by death, the Hokage told Anko. Hi, Hokage-sama. Sai, get to it, Anko told her subordinate. Kushina looked Sasuke with a grin. Now that that's done, Gaki, let's head home. Outside the Uzumaki residence, 6:30 a.m. So how do you think he'll take the news? Knowing him it'll be loud, Sasuke asked Kushina with a grin as he was still giddy at the news his mother was alive. Watching the dobe try and recover from the fact he has to share his home and his mom with me ought to be good for a few laughs and will make this day even better. I bet he might surprise us, Kushina told him with a matching grin. Poor guy doesn't know that Naruto has been expecting something like this since I told him my history with the Uchiha family in general and Makoto in particular. That, and the note I left explaining I would be addressing this issue might kill any shock factor Sasuke is hoping to have. He never really has been very predictable from what everyone tells me. Maybe not to anyone else, but I've pretty much figured him out, Sasuke said. If he doesn't start shouting in denial, I'll. Yo, what, you think you know my son so well, what are you willing to wager? Kushina cut him off. This could be a good way to clear the way for my future daughter-in-law. I think I have the perfect way to do so. Not a matter of thinking, I know how he'll react, Sasuke said with a confident smirk. Then I'll make you a bet if you win I stop calling you Gaki, Naruto can't call you team, for a week, and I'll teach you a lightning release jutsu of your choice. Kushina watched his response to see if he'd take the bait. Sure enough, at the offer of a new jutsu, Sasuke perked up and looked like a kid in a candy store. But if you lose? Oh, there's no way I'm losing this bet, Sasuke answered her. Confident are we? You know that can be a weakness, being overconfident, Kushina told him sagely. Not a matter of being overconfident. I know the dobe, I mean I really know him. As much time as we've spent as rivals, we might as well be brothers, Sasuke told her. Fine, if you're that confident, then I guess you'll have no trouble taking the rest of the bet if you lose, she started in response. If I lose, well, trust me, I'm not gonna lose. And just to prove it, if I lose, no calling him dobe for a week and I'll ask out the harpy, he told Kushina. He saw the grin on her face and thought to himself, normally there is no way in hell I'd do that, but I know I'm winning this bet. Deal, Kushina said quickly as they arrived at the door. Well, let's get this show on the road, shall we? She asked as she opened the door. If he only knew, she thought to herself with an inward grin. As they entered, they found Haku in the living room going over several water jutsu scrolls that Zabuza had given her, but Naruto was nowhere in sight. Welcome back, Ka-san, I trust everything is well. Oh, hello, Sasuke, come to find Naruto-kun? He's in the kitchen making breakfast, Haku said as they entered. Naruto cooking breakfast? I didn't know he could cook, Sasuke thought to himself. Naruto-kun, can you come in here for a minute? I have some news to tell you, Kushina called. When there was no reply, she got a little annoyed and tried again. Naruto-kun, come here please. Still no reply. The grin on Sasuke's face got larger, and Kushina's face darkened and her hair resembled 9 tails. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, get your ass out here before I come get you. Sasuke was so lost in his laughter as Naruto came running out of the kitchen that he almost failed to catch the implication of Naruto's full name. Wait, what? He started, confused. Oh hey Ka-san, I've got breakfast on the stove, can we make this fast so it doesn't burn? Naruto asked while stealing a glance in the kitchen. Of course, Naruto-kun, but don't think I'm gonna let you off for ignoring me, Kushina started. Omelets, toast, sausage, fresh orange juice, was the response he gave. All's forgiven, Kushina shouted. Haku and Sasuke's sweat drop reaction caused bouts of laughter from mother and son. Now I just wanted to tell you some information regarding Sasuke, who'll be staying with us for the near future. Is the stick out of his ass? Was Naruto's reply. Sasuke could only stare in shock. This was not the reaction he'd expected. Don't give me that look, team. You've had a chip on your shoulder the size of the Hokage Tower, and been an arrogant ass for the last few years. So if you're gonna be here, I need to know if I have to knock you down a few pegs. Or a few hundred, it depends on how you act around me. Guess I'll have to spell it out, the dobe, since he doesn't get it. Bet his reaction to what I tell him will be priceless. This bet is as good as won, Sasuke thought to himself. I don't think you understand, dobe, for the near future you are gonna have to share your home, your food, your mom with me. Sasuke sat back with a grin as he waited for the inevitable outburst. What he got wasn't what he was expecting. No shit, team, Ka-san is your godmother, which makes us brothers of a sort. It also means we get your ass out of that crypt, and into a real family. What I'm asking is if she managed to break you of that Avenger bullshit and back on the planet Earth with the rest of us, he told Sasuke. But how that means, Sasuke started before he fainted in shock as the grin on Kushina's face got even larger. Hey team, hey Ka-san, I think I broke him, Naruto laughed at Kushina. Seriously, how did it go though? Is he gonna be okay? So you do care, Kushina laughed at her son's reaction. Well, I did tell you I see him as a brother, an arrogant pompous ass of a brother, but still a brother, he told his mother as he grabbed a cup of cold water. Hey Haku, a little help? Kushina laughed even harder as Haku chilled the water to near freezing and threw the cup onto the prone body of Sasuke. Holy son of a bitch, that's cold, Sasuke shouted as he woke up with a start. What the hell, Dob? No D word, remember, Kushina chided him. Sasuke looked at her for a sec, then started mumbling to himself, stupid freaking bet. You made the bet, speaking of which I expect you to ask her by the end of the week, he was told. Naruto gave his mother a slightly confused look before he headed back to the kitchen. Get to the table people, breakfast is ready, he told the group. As he served up the food, he noticed Sasuke's confused look as he was observing the small family. Got something on your mind, team? Yeah, who are you and what have you done with Naruto? Sasuke asked him. What do you mean? I'm the same Naruto who came back from Wave with you, Naruto asked Sasuke. That may be, but you're not the same one who left with us to Wave. Something has changed about you, you're more confident, more certain of yourself. Plus you're a lot less brash and boisterous, Sasuke explained. The way you responded when I told you about my moving in with your family was not what I was expecting. Let me guess, you were expecting me to shout and scream about sharing my home and mom with you, and start going on a rampage more or less, Naruto asked him. Pretty much, and I was counting on it too. So tell me, what the hell happened to you, he was asked. Even though he was expecting most of what Sasuke asked next, word out of his mouth stunned Naruto. Please. Wait a minute, did you just say please? Sheesh, and you said I'm different? Naruto laughed at himself and shook his head for a moment. Well, since you asked nicely, I guess it's time for a history lesson. By the way, it's a good thing you're sitting down. Oh, and once I'm done you get to share as well. Whatever, Sasuke said, then grinned at Kushina's reaction. Fair's fair, you tell me, I'll tell you. Besides, if I didn't your mom might kick the crap out of me. Damned right, Gaki, and Naruto the whole story, Kushina told both boys as she and Haku started in on breakfast. Fine, Kachan, okay, let's get the hard part out of the way first, and no questions until the end. Naruto waited until Sasuke nodded agreement before he started. From the beginning, you know how the Kyuubi is supposed to have died on the night of my birth, right? Killed by the Yondaime according to what the academy told everyone? Sasuke nodded. Well, that's a load of crap. The Kyuubi is a Bijuu, which are beings of pure chakra, which means they can't die. It can however be sealed into a person, a Jinchuriki, that's what I am. The Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed demon fox, the Kyuubi no Kitsune, or as he has informed me, Kurama. Damn it, kid, I never said you could give out my name. Kurama shouted at him, causing Naruto to wince. Chill, Kurama, I had to tell him everything, Kachan's orders. Or would you like to argue with her? No, that means you gotta tell him about the Uchiha involvement in the attack, you know, Kurama told him. Yeah, I know, but better he knows now than finding out later. Besides, I think he's learned something regarding his family today already. This just adds to the fun, Naruto thought back at his tenant before he closed the connection. Seeing the looks everyone was giving him, he decided to fess up. Kurama had to add his 2 cents in rather loudly. Kushina nodded in understanding and Sasuke gave him a questioning look. Kurama can communicate with me through the seal. He can't really influence me unless I give in to my anger. Before I met Kachan that would have been an issue, but turns out there is a bit of family history with the Uzumaki clan and him. The first Jinchuriki for him was Mito Uzumaki, wife of Hashirama Senju. She sealed him into herself during the battle with Madara Uchiha, who was controlling Kurama via the Sharingan. The second was Kachan. She took the burden on prior to Mito's death. The reason I'm the Jinchuriki is kinda because of one of your family members. Naruto looked at Sasuke to make sure he was following along. Sasuke looked a little stunned but waved him on to continue. Okay, I guess the best way to go about this is to explain the weakness of the seal that holds Kurama. The only time a Jinchuriki's seal is weakened is at the time of death, or in this case during childbirth. The night I was born, an Uchiha who claimed to be Madara Uchiha killed Kachan's protectors, held me hostage as a newborn, and kidnapped Kachan while my dad saved me. While he held Kachan prisoner, he managed to pull Kurama out of the seal and took control of him via use of the Sharingan. My Tusan, who by the way was Minato Namikaze the Yondaime himself, freed Kachan, beat the Uchiha bastard, and gave his life to seal Kurama in me. Kachan and Tusan were both impaled by Kurama, who was blind with rage at being controlled yet again. Kachan was transported to her parents, who saved her life, and remained sealed there until my blood released them from the pocket dimension they had been sealed in. Tusan gave his life to finish the seal, which made me Kurama's Jinchuriki. The old man made it a village secret about Kurama, and hid the fact that I'm the Yondaime's son as a means to protect me, but some of the dumbasses on the council decided to defy my father's wish that I be seen as a hero for protecting the village from Kurama, and had me beaten, mugged, nearly killed, and generally mistreated by everyone. At the same time, Danzo Shimura decided to try and make me into a weapon. He did everything short of outright kidnapping me, including placing seals on me to stunt my growth, reduce my strength, and limit my intelligence. If it wasn't for Kurama stopping the worst of the seals, I'd have been a vegetable. When I freed the Uzumaki clan, my grandfather, the Hokage, removed the seals that were restricting me. So I'm now able to realize my full potential. I'm not the loud brash fool I was when we left. This is the real me, all the crap that was keeping me held back is gone. The old man will be revealing my heritage and the fact that I'm the Jinchuriki to the village later today, and I plan to laugh at the fools who've been mistreating me when they realize who it is they've wronged for all these years. Any questions? Sasuke took all this in stride as he processed the information. He looked over at Kushina, who nodded in confirmation that all he had heard was true. Looking at Naruto, he decided to ask what was bugging him. So you're the Yandame's son? Naruto nodded affirmative. Danzo crippled you? How'd he do that, and how long ago did this happen? Near as I can tell, when I was about 5 is when he made his move to have me booted out of the orphanage and put on the streets. It's a good thing I can hide better than most ANBU, or I'd be screwed, cause that bastard was hunting me relentlessly. Unfortunately, on my birthday the annual fox hunt mob found me, and damned near killed me. Danzo managed to get hold of me and place several seals on me. Kurama's intervention gave me a chance to escape, where a couple ANBU managed to find me. After that the Hokage wouldn't let me out of the ANBU's sight. Danzo missed his chance, but he planned to entice me by offering to train me later on and slowly removing the seals. That way I'd think my improvement was due to his training, binding me to that bastard. Naruto's answer angered Haku and Sasuke, not at him but at Danzo. Kushina chose this time to insert herself in the conversation. I guess it's a good thing I killed that sick son of a bitch, isn't it? Naruto, Haku and Sasuke all answered at the same time. If you hadn't, I would have. The three teens looked at each other for a moment before laughing. Well, I guess we have more in common than I thought, Sasuke told Naruto, who looked slightly confused. Danzo is one of the reasons my clan is dead. Well, Danzo and my Tusan Fugaku Uchiha, that is. Naruto looked at him and motioned for him to explain. From what your mother showed me, and what you've explained, I've come to a conclusion of sorts about what happened. After the attack by Kurama, if I heard you right, my clan was blamed. Now apparently that blame was with reason, but no one else in the clan knew that. Fugaku conspired with Danzo to overthrow the Hokage and take control of the village. My brother was tasked by the Hokage with evacuating the innocent members of my clan and stopping my father. Due to Danzo's interference, that plan failed. Between Root and my Fugaku's forces, everyone was killed. Danzo and Fugaku placed me under a powerful genjutsu when I overheard their plan. Their plan was to place the blame for the slaughter on Itachi, and as the only living witness, no one could dispute what I reported. Thanks to Kushina-chan, I was freed from the genjutsu Danzo placed on me, and I can now accept the truth about what happened that night. I also learned that Danzo kidnapped my Kasan, who barely survived that night. She's in a coma at the moment, but with any luck we can get Tsunade of the Sannin here to help her recover, so it's not all bad news. Naruto looked at Kushina, who nodded sadly, confirming what he had been told. Well, looks like we've both been through the ringer thanks to Danzo team, but it also looks like we'll recover, which is more than can be said for him. So no more Avenger bullshit? No, I know the truth about what happened and who was responsible. Danzo can't pay a heavier price than he already has. I wish he could, but he can't. Now that we have that out of the way, where the hell did you learn to cook? Naruto, Kushina, and Haku all laughed as they watched Sasuke wolf down his food. Hey team, you live like I had too, and you learn a few things. That and Ka-chan has been helping me learn a few new recipes that she knows, Naruto answered him. So Ka-chan, what's on the agenda? I know I have the matter with Niji in 6 days, so I take it I'll be training heavily. Not just you, Sasuke-kun will be joining you for taijutsu and ninjutsu. Before you say anything, I know you lost the bet gaki, but that just means I choose the new jutsu you learn, Kushina told the boys. What bet? Sasuke here bet that you'd throw a screaming fit when you found out that he would be living with us, Kushina told Naruto. The terms were if he won he'd get his choice of lightning jutsu to learn. I wouldn't be able to call him gaki, and you wouldn't be able to call him team for a week. If he lost, he couldn't call you dobe for a week, and his own term he has to take Harpy-chan on a date. Oh man, you really screwed yourself there team. If I hadn't met Ka-chan you'd have won the bet too. Naruto laughed so hard he lost his breath as Sasuke scowled at him. Ah hell, don't look so sour. If it's any consolation, I heard from Kakashi-sensei that she's decided to take her training seriously. That'd be a plus. The way she's been is a disgrace to kunoichis everywhere, Kushina chimed in. Tell you what gaki, I'll give you a week to see if she really does start taking her training seriously. If she doesn't, you're off the hook, but if she does you have to help her, as well as fulfilling the terms of our bet. Seeing a possible out, Sasuke perked up. Well, on one hand she's a harpy, but if she's gonna be serious about improving her skills so she's not dead weight, then I can give her a shot. Not that I plan to marry her or anything, but it'll be a decent change from what I've seen out of her so far. If she's serious I'll help, but if she's not and she goes back to fangirl activities I'll leave her to her failure. Team, if she's serious we'll do this as a team. Hell, up till now we've been a dysfunctional mess. You and I've turned the corner. If she comes around as well, there's no telling what we can do, Naruto told Sasuke with a grin. Time to lower the boom, poor bastard, he thought to himself. Then with an inward grin he decided to reveal his latest news. Either way, she's all yours. What do you mean she's all mine? I thought you were hung on her. Sasuke looked at Naruto with a hint of fear. Please don't tell me he's found someone else. Him distracting Sakura is the only way I've gotten away from her rabid fangirl hunts. Well, as of yesterday I'm engaged, he told his stunned teammate. Engaged? What do you mean engaged? And after what you've told me, who would be engaged to you? No offense, but if the Hokage hasn't revealed the secret yet, then I'm confused. Sasuke looked over at Kushina, who was grinning from ear to ear. Ah, Sasuke-kun, that would be my doing. You see, that thing is, there were a couple people who knew about Naruto's heritage, like my genin team members. Your mother Makoto was one, and the now dead wife of Hyuga was the other. Kushina waited until she saw comprehension dawn on Sasuke's face. That's right, Naruto has been engaged to the heir of the Hyuga clan Hinata since before he was born. He only found out yesterday. If Minato and I had been here the whole time, they would have known before the academy. Our deaths put the plan on hold, but now it's back on. You lucky bastard, Sasuke said as he looked over at Naruto. Figures you would get the only decent kunoichi from our class? Yeah, I know, right. Only downside, if you could call it that, is that I have to duel Niji Hyuga to prove that I'm worthy to marry Hinata thanks to the Hyuga elders. They plan to try and make me fail so they can put the caged bird seal on Hinata. Too bad for them, I won't lose, was Naruto's explanation to Sasuke. They want to do what to her? That's fucked up. So what's your plan to deal with Niji? As far as I've been told, he's a true prodigy, Sasuke asked Kushina and Naruto. Well, there's the fact that he's hung up on the fate kick, which means once he learns of my heritage he will be leery of fighting me. I don't think that's likely since the elders will probably hide the truth from him. I'm betting they intercept him before he gets home and take him for special training. They'll likely teach him more advanced moves to beat me with and lie about why we are having the duel, Naruto mused. As for how I plan to deal with him, the biggest weapon the elders have over the branch house is the caged bird seal. That is how they plan to tempt him, I bet, and that's how I'll beat them. I don't see how. Sasuke started before Kushina butted in. Now Gaki, wait till the fight and you'll see. Alright boys, let's head to the meeting point to get training started. Oh, and Gaki, when you find out what you're learning, you'll thank me, Kushina told Sasuke as they headed out the door. Training ground 7:15 minutes later. Sakura was sitting at the base of a tree near the entrance of the training grounds, lost in her thoughts, as she waited for her team to arrive. She was still in a state of shock over what she had been told the previous evening, and still couldn't believe the way she had reacted. Flashback 12 hours ago, Harino residence. You wanted to see me, Kaa-chan? Sakura asked her mother. Yes, Sakura-chan, there is, and none of it will be things you want to hear, her mother told her. Tell me, dear, how much do you know about your teammate, Naruto Uzumaki? Not much. While we were in the academy, I did like you instructed and avoided him as much as possible. I spent most of my time following your wishes, that I tried to endear myself to Sasuke-kun. While we were in the academy, and up until recently, he was a loud, obnoxious baka, who was constantly trying to win my affections. As far as we knew, he was an orphan with no clan, unlike Sasuke-kun. Before we went to Wave, I'd say he was a loser who would never change. Now, though, he's different. Sakura struggled to explain how Naruto had changed. What happened during your mission that changed him, Sakura-chan? She was asked. After we fought Zabuza the first time, we started to train heavily. He often left on his own after the team trained together to keep at it. His chakra control stunk, and he was holding us back. One day he disappeared all night long, and when he came back, he was different. He had less problems with his control than before, and he was calmer, more sure of himself. During our second battle with Zabuza and his partner Haku, he managed to save Sasuke-kun, then this red-haired woman got involved and made Zabuza switch sides against Gato, the guy who had hired him. She claims to be his mother, and said her name is Sakura, continued before her mother finished. Kushina Uzumaki, yes, she is the bastard's mother. It gets worse though, turns out he really is a demon, or at least holds one. And he has the luck of the devil no less, her mother fumed. What do you mean, why do you and the other adults hate him so much? I mean, yeah, he's a baka, but still, Sakura asked. Until now we were forbidden by law from telling you kids the truth, but now the Hokage plans to reveal it to everyone tomorrow. On the night of the Kyuubi's attack on Konoha, it wasn't killed. That monster is made of pure chakra, so it can't really die. Instead, it was sealed into a newborn baby, her mother explained.